as we go and test out the beef fajitas that we got cooking up. The chief's already given it a solid rating, and then I will go and spam them over there.
What are you gonna do?
Be looking forward to it.
What are you gonna do?
I'm just gonna give it a rating.
You're gonna give it a rating.
I give it my food ratings.
But what do you mean you're gonna spam them?
Well, I'm not gonna. I'm gonna go stand over there with the mic and. Just
gotcha.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. All right. The big kahunas are that way. We'll see everybody tomorrow, guys. Same bat time, same bat channel.
Welcome back, everybody. Well, you didn't go anywhere. You're still chilling out, obviously. And
I think never transfers forward. I don't know.
well, I have the chat open.
Fabian screwed something.
I'm at the time now where I'll just go into it when it's waiting instead of waiting for
Oh no,
it
me
to,
too. I'm always there, but today I
waiting for it to change over.
Show my ears.
But
What does it show me?
wow, that's CY. You know what?
Take another piece.
Look, we'll get into some of the positions. I know we're going to talk about all the symbols that everyone wants to, but that CYN, yuckity yuck yuck. We've been through this before. It's lost VWAP now, and if anyone that doesn't know here, they dropped an offering while the stock was halted to the downside because obviously no one knew up here that there was going to be an offering. Nobody knew.
You didn't know there was going to be an offering there?
Yeah, you see my short? Yeah, of course. Nah, look, it's dirty, but like if you look at the price action, it doesn't look that good here. You know, now that it's lost VWAP and lost 18, I'd be a little concerned this could break all the way down. The offering was at like $5, $5. So it's not saying it's going to 5, but this was a $5 stock yesterday at the close, $5.01. I would not be surprised if we saw this fall a little bit further. After they dropped the offering, I went to pay for locates. They were still cheap here at Real Trading. I don't know what they are now. I'm guessing the demand went up after the offering was announced. Just be careful with this. It's not the runner that it was before. Obviously, fundamentally, things have changed here. Yeah, it sucks, but I mean, it was a great stock for a lot of people. I want to thank everybody for the super chats in the middle of the day. We got some for some beers and other things that are not going to happen because we don't like pineapple on pizza. But it was a fun midday show in there, and I know a lot of people did really well on CYN, despite the fact that they rug pulled it anyways.
All right, yeah, CYN, a good name. Yeah, thank you everybody for joining us one more time. This will be my last show until Monday, and we'll be back. So it'll be Obi Neal tomorrow, and I was just checking the weather. It's looking. I'm trying to golf tomorrow, so ready to hear. I have golf with my brother in the AM, and it's looking. So tonight we have baseball, but like right now it's not really raining. It was raining a little bit on the way back from the gym. We got 18 degrees, freezing. This was 40 degrees yesterday and the day before. Like we had 4 days in a row that we were all 40 degrees Celsius here. Now it's getting a little chilly, but we don't play tonight till 8, so I think we should be okay. And then, like I said, tomorrow for golf, teeing off tomorrow around 9 a.m., so that should be okay. And then our games, though, for the tournament is 6:30, so I don't know. It's going to be rainy. But then, the wife sent me a message. And it was like on Apple weather. I don't know. There's all these different weather maps and everything like that. That Apple weather had it at no rain until 8 o'clock tomorrow night or something like that. So I don't know.
As long as you get the
Isn't that weird? Like, that's the one thing about weather.
Don't they have the same radar they're looking at?
No, but like, isn't there some aspect of science involved or something? So I've watched.
You would think.
Watched enough news in my life, I guess. There's different models.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so like one station will have wind being like more of a factor or something or whatever, and I think I think wind is the big thing.
Well, the thing with the wind is
where it pushes the cloud.
But that should be more uniform, like wind patterns, because like I learned this from a YouTube guy that was like he was launching. My daughter's really into like some of these like YouTube science.
Who watches YouTube these days?
It was a guy that was going to break the record for the highest egg drop of all time. So of course he's using a weather balloon and all this stuff to get it up.
Okay.
Well, it was really
cool.
Intact. It was a really cool. It's a 30-minute video. She loves engineering. I'm like, this is great. If you want to watch this, let's have fun. But they were talking about the weather balloons, and I didn't know this. Like at the same time, every single day across the world, at it's like noon, whatever. They launch weather balloons at the same moment in all these different spots. so they can collect wind data, and it's all synchronized.
Right.
So you would think that
would
at
make
least
sense.
at least that aspect of it should be the same. Anyway, it's kind of like everyone looking at the same.
Scientific guessing, says the farming
but that's all it
scalper
is.
there. But there, obviously, I'll just kind of joke. Okay, well, something just happened.
What just
right
happened?
There. We were just short the futures, but there goes the futures right now.
Yeah,
I am
just
not tuned into.
Shoot, I gotta
get into my Adara is over there eating, so we're okay for right now. But there goes the move up. I'll log in. I actually am in right now, so I'll wait to hear if we hear anything. But futures just took me out on the top side there. We were trying to go short. I was just going to go short against the high of the day, and we just broke right there. So it's fine. Fine to get out.
Oh, that's wild.
Happy with that, but it just went upside there. So we'll wait to see if there's any sort of a story. I wonder if my ear.
Maybe we just got wicked. Look, man, I was actually short this in Apple, and it was in the money, and we just got wicked like right here. And I didn't hear. I turned the news back on because I didn't.
I don't mind Apple,
but I don't actually see it. I don't see something hitting. I don't hear anything. It's 2 o'clock. I'm just gonna see Twitter. I'm not really seeing anything on Twitter. That might just be like a.
I'm trying
like
it again,
random,
but not many shares.
Random spike.
Yeah, I'm going to try a couple hundred shares here on the TQQ just to see what that move was all about. And if it goes one more time, I'm going to stop out at 55. I'm only going to give us like a. Here we go.
Did you hear something?
Feds Collins likely. It's 206. No, I just see right here, Feds Collins.
Oh, I see it, yeah.
Early for interest rate cut. Too early for interest rate cut. Just hit at 206.30. That's 20 seconds ago. That could have been something there. Too early for interest rate cuts. So, yeah, I mean, that would spike the market up. No, I don't think that would spike the market up.
That doesn't make sense.
That might go the other way. So, all right, well, we'll find out about it anyways. Welcome to the afternoon show. And this is where we sort of talked about, where your bread is buttered and all that kind of stuff, right? And I mean, and it was just early with Nvidia. We're going to talk about all of these, but like right now, we have to be careful with what we're doing. We had this huge move down at the beginning of the day, and Nvidia fell right into our lap. I mean, we wanted on the sticky note 154. It came in, and we grabbed it, very, very aggressively. And then we got stopped out. I had 2% left, as you guys remember when we left. Then we went swimming and blah, 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 and then down to 155 and change. We did get stopped out there for $1 or whatever, and then now it's trying to go back up. This could also be another break. So we'll just wait to hear what some of that story is. EU tariff news, some people are saying over here. So
yeah, I see it.
You see it now?
I see EU weighs lowering tariffs on U.S. imports to woo Trump. To woo, that's fun language.
To Wu-Tang?
What is this?
Is Method
What are you
Man
dating the
getting involved here?
Who actually? Here's the thing, man. I know who writes that stuff because ain't nobody talk like that. That's for sure.
Ain't nobody talk like that.
Well, like every now and then, I'm just gonna throw stuff in there. Like
yeah.
But no, let's be real. Woo.
We're trying to woo somebody. Yeah, it's like you're going on a date, like you're wooing.
Woo-saw.
Yeah.
That's the woo I know.
That's the woo you know.
Woo-saw.
I just know the Wu-Tang.
Woo-saw.
So shout out to every, New York in general for Wu-Tang, that East Coast.
East Coast.
36 chambers.
My favorite.
Pretty good one, man. Cash.
Start with
rules,
Rakim. Go
everything
to
around me, cream.
Get the money.
There's some
dollar bill, y'all.
Dollar bills, y'all. Right there. ODB.
Shreve's dancing it off when you throw that.
Right now. All right, yeah, I'm just going to get out of these TQs, about to break here higher. That tariff news for me is, I guess, a game changer. I mean, you can see here on the futures, we did get a big spike. That would make sense if the EU does lower tariff demands or whatever that story you just mentioned, that whatever the exact wording was there.
Cutting tariffs on U.S. goods.
Tariffs.
There's no specifics on that.
But Wave's decision, so it's like they're not sure if they're going to do it. Yeah, I know. Remember, there's many deals becoming going to be announced in a matter of 2 weeks.
I'm considering getting a haircut tomorrow.
Deals.
Considering.
Yes.
Not sure.
Well, it's just like with Trump, and again, able to do whatever he wants, commander-in-chief and whatever. He said that he was going to give 2 weeks to this Iranian decision, and then it was about 38 hours later.
Was it even that long?
Were dropped. I just remember him saying.
It might have been less.
And I was watching like late night TV, and it was like 2 weeks this, 2 weeks that, 2 weeks this, and then it was just like bang, 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 bang. Happened so fast. Okay, so that's it. We'll take a stop out there on the futures. A hit, but we're fine with it. took a shot, news came out. This is why it is important to stay with us here. And anything that we see that comes through, like it's still not even on the Benzinga platform, unless it's just been a small report there. I don't know if it is from.
It was. I just saw someone on X tweet it.
Yeah, so.
It was nothing. Like actually, it's just a couple of. It's more than one, but it's a couple of news people that just tweet out the news. That's where I'm seeing it. I don't even know where it looks like it's from the Wall Street Journal.
So much winning.
According to this. Let's go to Sharif and see what names you want to talk about. We can absolutely talk about Tesla, Levi, but I don't know if it's going to make the list. It did.
Can we?
Okay, good. Those are the rules.
You want to talk about Levi Strauss, the jeans?
Levi?
Get into them jeans.
I don't know.
I wonder what Levi's is doing. Hold on a second.
I haven't known
go to
Levi's
Sharif.
in a while.
Sharif can... Nelly. Boots with the fur?
Isn't that Genuine? It's Genuine.
I don't even know the song you guys are talking about.
That's old.
I probably do, but yeah, here's Levi's stock, the company here, just kind of chilling out.
Hey, look at that.
I don't really like apparel names at this stage. I mean, not with all this tariff trouble. I mean, of course, unless the EU is deciding to cut tariffs, you know. But there's so many deals that are going to be coming through.
Which apparently they might.
We'll wait. All right, Sharif, give us a name to talk about.
Do I have to? Welcome, everyone, to the Afternoon Rundown, the show where you decide what we talk about every afternoon. Look at that. Look at over here. That's the chat. The big boys, they're locked, they're loaded, and they're ready to look at the tickers as decided by you. But the only way to get those tickers up there, you got to join Joseph and myself on Midday Show and get into that chat and vote for your favorite ticker. Super easy now that Fabian has created a program. You put that $sign and then the 3, 4, or 5-letter ticker of your choice. So it'll automatically populate. So make sure you're voting every day and make sure you're liking, subscribing, and sharing. Here's a look at all 4 major averages, all 4 in green territory, with the NQ up about 0.9%. Likewise here with the Russell 2000 up 0.9%, the ES up about 0.75%, and the Dow up 4/5. So good look for all 4 major averages today. We'll see if it holds into the close. Tesla barely green, break even essentially. No real headline today on Tesla, but there was this, a confidant of Elon Musk leaving Tesla. And his name is Omid Afshar, guys. And apparently him and Elon were close.
You know, when that was happening in the middle of the day, it was surreptitiously. Do you know what? You weren't here. You know what level broke when that news hit? It was the 325 breakdown. And it did the same darn thing. Like, it broke 325,
big.
And then it bounced right off support and then went green back into VWAP. So it was a case of, like, flat bottom break and then instantaneous recovery. So maybe lesson... All right, so here's the approach for Tesla. If Tesla breaks 325 again, like it did earlier and like it did yesterday, and then gets back above 325, well, it's a little different. Like yesterday, it trended down and then came back. This one was like a wick bottom. But if it does regain 325 after a break today, I want to think about maybe reversing into, maybe I don't even take the short, maybe go into a long if it does that dip and rip. That'll be the plan of action for myself on Tesla, just at that 325 level in case it happens again. Just a quick update. I got back into Apple after the headline, but then so there was the shock and then there was the wick out and then I got short again and then all of a sudden there was the headline that it was, in fact, some kind of news. So I kind of doubled out at VWAP and then put a break-even stop out as the market.
Not raining anymore.
Now going higher.
No, it's good. The rain is good.
Good.
Yeah, it's a little wet. Yeah, we did the same thing as well. We'll cook up a long now on the TQs. So it broke out right there, and we just went long. I was just like, the one thing that I was trying to develop here in the afternoon is there's never a point in the afternoon to fight trend, pretty much, is what I'm learning. Like, unless there's news hits and then we can go the other way. But if you're trying to break out right here, again, we talked about that 22.6 level. Now you're at 22.7. The Nasdaq is just ripping, like up another 1%. I mean, what kind of a daily chart? This is the TQs, but now you know what? It doesn't look great on the TQs because you can't. Here, we can go the NQ. We have the NQ contract here. NQ U, right, is what we're looking for. So here's the actual daily chart for the Nasdaq and what we're seeing right here. I mean, it's a great move higher here in the NQs. So we're going to watch out for, this is 4 straight monstrous days to start the week after what, everyone probably would have looked around and said, like, this bomb got dropped, 2 of them, destroyed Iran, obliterated them, apparently, their nuclear program. And, you know, we thought that there was going to be problems with oil and so on and so forth. And now all of a sudden the market just is like, see you later. I was wondering yesterday, I was like, am I really pushing this button to buy some Nasdaq yesterday? And yeah, we were, and we did, and we're happy with it. But Tesla today, look at this. Will you take a look at that? That's the other thing we need. We need something about, take a look at that, a gift for that or something. But yeah, no, it's, oh, well, we have this, which is do something. And I think that right now for Teslas, if you're trading it, you're looking for it to do something. This is a disaster waiting to happen for a day trader because it's just, you're too, if you're scalping it is one thing. Like if you're trying to play off some of these wicks, that could be fine. But a wick is something that happens unknown. Like you could be playing off of this level right there, boom, makes that move down, and then you get wicked out. Wow, you got stopped out is what happened. And then right there you got wicked out again, stopped out again on that kind of a move. And then even to the top, if you're playing some of these levels, there is a little bit of a spike of 20 or 30 cents, which may have stopped you out each time. So I don't know, to me it's pretty dangerous to play in these levels. Tesla's a leave alone until we get a lot lower. I mean, a lot lower. I think this 50-period moving average right here of 315 could probably play. That could play tomorrow. So we'll wait to see if that happens, or you just wait for a break again of that 335 right into here. So I think you either got to break this little shelf there to the upside or to the downside at 315. So either way, I don't think it's appropriate time right now to be trading Tesla unless we get that headline. But oh boy, here we go, man. We are now propsing it up for the reversal. And we talk about this. This is, again, I talk about my journey as a trader, but I really do think that part of things are being able to admit when you're wrong, and then get out and try to flip it the other way if something does change. And you know, we were only going short the Nasdaq here because it was at the high of the day, and I was just seeing if we were going to get a retracement, because the last couple afternoons we've kind of just been, I mean, this was a nice move down in there yesterday, but then look, we started coming up to those highs and fading off again. We only broke it once we got those imbalances. So I was just hoping that maybe there was something similar to what we were talking about there at 78.50 top. But you could see we did break that higher, so we flipped over into the long. But
You'll never get it.
All right, that's Tesla.
You'll never get it.
We still have CYN on board right now. What's up with that?
Dollar says you don't kill it.
Was he trying to kill a fly over there?
Yeah.
All right, let's go back over to Sharif and figure out if he killed a fly or not.
No, he didn't get it.
Not yet, baby. It's coming. All right, let's talk about CYN. What a bamboozler this one was. What a move. This was over 700% in the green. On this headline, that next generation robotics, automation, and AI technologies, Automatica, with collaboration with our friends there at Nvidia, and that had this one over 700%. Then obviously true to form, as these small cap gappers typically do, a midday offering to the tune of around $15 million or 2.99 million shares. And then you can see exactly when that offering came, boys, because it's a Christmas retracement down to the downside.
Well, you could see when the offering came, but you couldn't actually do anything about it when it happened. Just very quickly, AMD lost VWAP. We were long back into it. It did give a little bit of a bounce. We were able to get some out, but once it loses a volume weighted average price, I'm out of that sucker if you're doing a VWAP buy. Look, this is when the offering dropped, after it had already retraced $5 or $6 from the highs and already halted down once and was in the midst of its second halt down. You know, clearly that timing is a little bit suspect. It was a $5 offering. It feels to me like it wouldn't surprise me if we head a little bit further. Like on a 15-minute chart, you pull it back, like right in here, you lose this next bid, and I don't see why you couldn't be at $12. So I'm kind of like, I have it up. I'm looking to see if it'll do some kind of a false breakout here back above $18 for like a little bit of a short setup. And if it plunges through, just see how, like I would expect if it loses support, you go into a down halt, and that could give you maybe some space to cover. It's just unfortunate. Obviously this morning, I was talking about, you know, Breakfast Club and like Tisha and some of our earlier viewers that are in before we even opened the stream. We're all over this. And then as we were talking about in the morning, it was consolidating and maybe giving you a little bit more standard of entries. Because in the pre-market, you could have actually had this off of support, risking 40 or 50 cents instead of after the open where like every single long you're probably risking multiple dollars, even more than that. So it's just, it's a different story trying to chase these things up here as opposed to getting them. And a lot of times in the pre-market, you might find the best risk to reward, as weird as that might seem. I'd favor looking for a short entry, though I wouldn't force it on CYN. And this is exactly the danger of when a small capper goes, knowing if they have to file for an offering or if they have done so already and could drop one at any time. Clearly, they'd filed in the past, so could do it on day one, which you don't always see an offering get dropped on day one. Oftentimes it'll be a week or two after you get a bit of a bull run like this. So that's the danger. It's why you always take profits where you can.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, CYN, I mean, that's a lot of talk about that name. I always think that when you're looking at a deal or something like that, like a CYN, you want to figure out, who the deal's with. And I did see in the pre-market that, Tisha and I think Westermeyer, various people that were looking at this stock were saying that this was a good potential to happen today. So the reason why I saw one of the main catalysts there, bless you, one of the main catalysts was just who the deal was with. So I think that the important thing to look at moving forward is basically try to check out the float, the short float obviously, but then, what's the deal? What's the structure of it? What does it mean? Who's the deal with? And you guys absolutely nailed this one. So my hat's off to everybody there in the pre-market, because I remember you even posted in there, Westermeyer, that I don't even know if you're in the chat, but this generation thing. We actually have stats to tell you, to tell everybody what generation is the most popular watching this show. And it would be X, but we'll see who's watching now. All right, so CYN, again, hats off to you, because I think that you guys were talking about being long 10, being long like 11. I mean, that went to $40. The fact that you would have had a double or triple up is absolutely amazing. So yeah, good on everybody for that. I mentioned the first time here when we were watching it, if it broke, what was it, $20 or $20.50, that there was a potential move down. It's funny that right now it's back to 16 again. So what a roller coaster day for CYN. Congratulations to all. But the thing is, this is a stock that you play on the day. I've been talking about Big Bear AI now for months and months, and glad to finally see this one kicking up. So let's go get the story from Sharif, and then we'll have a look back at Big Bear AI.
No story today, Sean, but it's still basically moving up from last week's story where they deployed their biometric AI scanning at several American airports. Coming into yesterday's high, or the pre-market high that we kind of tanked off yesterday. Good look today for Big Bear AI, boys, as it works its way into that $6 level.
All right, so yes, again, like the only thing that I ever really knew about as far as Big Bear AI and some of the research that I was looking at was this big airport influence that they had. And, they rolled out the software. We'll figure out what's going on over there, and more contracts to come. I mean, the reason why I did like this name is I always kind of figured it was sort of like a little baby Palantir is what I used to call this thing, and still kind of do. And if I like AI names, I think we like Big Bear AI. And, we've seen moves up in SoundHound, different plays that have AI-based things. What's this guy? How was the fajitas, by the way? We didn't get a rating on the fajita. Oh, coming with the rating right now. Okay, he's coming hard with the rating. Right? Okay, here he comes. We didn't get a visual though or anything of it. Pick up the mic.
Here it is. Am I on here?
You're always on.
You're always on. You're good.
Just make sure it says on.
All right, so yeah, so essentially what we had to do is we made it a breedable, and I'm an honest guy, right? The chicken yesterday got a 7.5. That's a 7.5. Today the fajita, the beef fajita bowl is going to get a 5.6. A 5.6.
A 5.6. But the thing is, so
like
I don't mind
5.6.
5.6.
Look, I'll continue to allow you to do this segment, but
low.
the thing is we need visuals, man. You need to take a picture.
Visual, yeah.
Like, it doesn't have to be a visual of you eating it or whatever, but just like a picture so everyone could see it.
See it, yeah.
Like me and you are on the same wavelength.
It looked like a 7, but the viewers don't get to see it.
I mean, obviously, looks can be deceiving
it looked
at
good.
times, right? But I made sure I loaded. I put cheese on there. I put the green onions. Loaded some tomatoes, and then obviously you got to get the sour cream on top as well too. But if I'm going honest with the visuals, maybe we give the visuals a 7. but the actual taste we're
Yeah,
going
yeah.
5.6.
What I'm saying about the visuals is you don't have to rate the visuals. It's just giving everybody an
You
idea.
want to do a visual rating too? Hey,
We could do that too if you want to, but what I was getting at here,
presentation is key, right?
what I was getting at, right, was that these people, our audience, right, they can just have a look at what this bowl looks like.
Okay, so they can judge for themselves.
Right, like when Portnoy opens up the pizza, you
pizza
see the
boxes.
pizza, and he's showing it.
Fair enough.
He's showing like the thickness of it.
The thickness, the
Okay.
undercarriage, the crust, the char on it. So
right.
maybe we can
Glad we
make
got
another
this all
bowl,
figured
but
out.
yeah, 5.6.
And there was nothing hot. There was no heat. Like there was no jalapenos or anything like that.
Has there been a meal yet that would have given you a 9 around
A
here?
9.
Like I'm just trying to think like that's really high.
That's that's hard to achieve.
I know. So all right.
I don't even eat
for
the
a
beef.
caterer-
The
caterer? I don't
beef
know.
strogie is in the lower 3s in that echelon.
I feel like
so.
this whole beef.
We already know
thing
how you
is
feel about the
already,
beef stroganoff,
You're
okay?
you're too influenced by
like,
beef stroganoff.
Yeah, but
You know.
no, I'm not.
Chill
hey,
on the
man,
beef
no, I
stroganoff.
hold no bias to my ratings there. So there it is, Jamming with
Okay.
Joe, episode 2.
All right, thank you for that, Joe. We do like more content around here, so thank you, Joe, for that. But yeah, Big Bear AI. I mean, look, man, my average price is $420. That's been highly discussed on the show over the last couple months. You know, we bought it, so I'll just show you my adventure in Big Bear AI. You know, when it was moving to the upside, I was like, wait a second, what kind of company is this? Then we started looking into it, found out deals with the Department of Defense, deals with various airports and so on and so forth. So I was just kind of like, you know what? Let's just ride with this thing. When it came back down, we wanted to first buy some. So I looked at this level. And again, you have to look at it from, this point back because I didn't see any of this. So when this fell back into $5, we bought some. Then it fell back into $4 right in there. And I was like, well, we bought at 5, we're gonna buy at 4. And then when it came back in again, I bought some more down here at 3. So 3, 4, 5 different shares gave me an average price. If I did it, 100, 100, 100, my average price would be 4. But right there, we're in at 420 right there. Nothing done purposely there. It was just, I think it's actually 421 or something like that, or 420 and a half. But Big Bear AI right now trying to work. And I did have an offer near $6. I'm actually going to change that. Maybe 625 or so. We'll wait. We'll get a little greedy on this one. But Big Bear AI, no exits for me until it's like a 50% winner. So we're long at 420. Add $2 to that gives you 620. That's our 50% spot. So let's take some out for 50. I mean, a 50% winner, even if you have only gotten it, like if you took my plan, that would have been from March. So, we've been starting it in March. We'll take 50 points if it can get up there. The fact is, I'm probably jinxing it. So Big Bear AI, we really like it. I really like it. And we traded it yesterday and the day before. So just don't have it on today. But we did yesterday, we did the day before. I like some Big Bear AI.
It's a double top 590 break. Yesterday was that high at the open was $5.90. It's at 84 right now. So 91 breaks. I think it's a decent shot at the long because there's room. Like there's overhead resistance till like maybe like 6.25 is like that's literally a half. Like what is that? A 5% move if it goes to 6.25. So I like that breakout here. But we want to give a big shout out. You saw a couple of days ago, we had a couple of fantastic guests, including Pat LaFontaine, Hall of Famer. Because each year, 3.8 million concussions are reported in the US. Yet there is no FDA-approved treatment. NYSE listed Oragenics, OGen, is changing that with its first-in-class intranasal drug designed for rapid brain access. With the concussion treatment market projected to reach $8.9 billion by 2027, Oragenics is uniquely positioned to lead the way. Learn more and schedule a meeting today. Scan the QR code you see in front of you, OGEN, on the NYSE market. Let's go and talk about Circle. Ooh, that caught a bid.
It's a big day today for Circle. Nice 10.5% in the green. But as you can see here over the multi-day time frame, we have been in a bit of a sell-off, boys, since hitting that $300 all-time high. It's been a great IPO for Circle, holding on to 200, but still off the highs, guys. No real catalyst today or news for Circle.
Relief rally.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've talked about this a couple times here on the show. I just think that Circle has been squoze to the upside. And now that potentially is over, I do expect it to come down. And I think Neil just sort of said the key thing there, and I'll steal from him a little bit, but I think there is a relief rally. So Neil, why don't you explain what you mean by that? Because I agree 100%, and You had mentioned it, so I'll give it to you.
I just feel like, so sometimes there's like something people call like the 3-day rule on like uptrends, where like on the 3rd or like the 4th day, I don't remember which one traders talk about, but like you'll just get a pullback because it's an orderly thing. Well, this made the top from 300, had a couple of down days in a row, and then you catch a little bit of a bid. I don't think this means it's going back to the highs. In fact, I'm kind of feeling like it's the opposite. You got your rally. It's an inside rally. It doesn't break any real resistance here that's at 230, whatever that high, maybe like 233, 234, whatever this high works into from yesterday and the day before. And so unless you get above that, I think you just have a consolidation in what looks like a reversal move. So why couldn't you still be getting back into this range, 150, 160? If you end up breaking, like here's the thing, if you end up breaking out this top, well then don't fight it. I guess it's back into bull mode, and the shorts have only won a small victory. But as long as it's going sideways, like sideways consolidation on the way up, I get bullish at the support and bullish when it breaks. Sideways consolidation on the way down, I feel sort of the same thing, but in the other direction. Oh, worth noting, I mean, while we're on the topic of Circle, this is usually the time that we mention Coreweave.
What is this guy laughing about?
Distinctly different Coreweave. Coreweave's still trending down. Relief rally, like Coreweave tried the relief rally with Circle, and note that Circle bounced and at least had some continuation. Coreweave bounced, got to the open, and then just dropped again. This clearly, for whatever reason, is a little bit weaker of the two. And I know they're not the same thing, they're not in the same business, but they're both parabolic recent IPOs. This has yet to really hold on to a bounce like Circle is going to be able to do here. So at least for the time being, I think you favor this one. And we said this in the morning show. We said, well, it's kind of obvious when Circle's trending up, that's not the one, if you had to choose the two of these, which you're going to short. Coreweave doesn't break resistance. Circle got back up to the top. So at least for now,
Vladimir Guerrero left the game. He got hit in his forearm.
No, come on, man.
That's okay, forearm.
Yeah, but
I feel like even if the worst thing happened, it'd be like a broken bone or something.
Well, yeah, you don't want the hand.
And don't they have it's on forearm that says.
Apparently he wasn't wearing it. But if you were wearing it, how could you leave the game? I don't know.
Well, you're a baseball player. These guys like taking. It's the easiest sport for as far as chilling out is concerned.
Someone's never been hit by a heater.
Oh no, getting hit. No, I'm saying that hurts. Especially in baseball. I mean, that could have been 95 miles an hour.
But these guys wear the armor. Like I don't understand. If you're allowed to wear the armor, just wear the silly stuff.
Like you may be getting away with being able to play DH or.
Yeah, well, that's the problem.
That's what I'm saying. It's like if you have a broken arm, you're not playing any sport.
There was a dude when we were growing up that his nickname. When I was 14 years old, this guy's nickname as a pitcher was Angus Khan. I won't say his actual name, but his name was Angus. I won't say his last name. Angus Khan, they used to call him. So he was already at 14, he was like 6'2", and he threw 85 already. I think he went down south to pitch somewhere. But for whatever reason, anytime we'd play them, and I forget what city he was from, somewhere in Mississauga, they were like, that's Streetsville or something like that, and we're in Brampton. And every time I would lead off for Brampton, this guy drilled me like 3 times. I'm the leadoff hitter who steals bases, and he would still always hit me. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. And that ish, like you didn't have any protection, so like he'd got me on the elbow once, the funny bone, which was the most painful thing. It's not as bad as like the knee or other places or like the wrist, but it just your whole arm goes numb.
Yeah, it's a problem.
Like you can't feel anything. It was so weird. But I don't understand why, if you're allowed to wear protection, these idiots don't do it. I'd have that arm gear on the whole way. It's like trading without a stop. You're allowed to put stop orders in. So if you were short Nvidia today and you didn't have a stop, you're a fool. Better yet, you should have been long, right. Sharif. You still didn't get that fly, did you? I told you you're not getting that fly. I tried to kill the same fly earlier. But I also didn't have anything. I tried with my hands.
Are we done?
No, we're not. Okay, so I can't see the screen over here, but NVIDIA is next on the list, guys. Jensen coming out with a speech yesterday talking about the intersection of robotics and AI, calling them a multi-$10 trillion industry in the next few years. We'll have to see how that all works out, but it's been a good look for NVIDIA lately, boys, as it reclaims the #1 market cap company in the United States.
Yeah, man. I mean, we've, again, been celebrating NVIDIA all day. It's the #1 name here. It came in pretty clean. I'll just show you one more time here the sticky note that we put out right there this morning. And it was just showed it right here. I mean, here's the trade that I actually put out, but this is the sticky note. We put it out that we like this long at 154 dips, right? And looking for a 157 pre-market break. So we didn't really get the 157, and there's the trade. Go follow at tradertv, Sean. You can see all of that. But yeah, 157 almost got there, 156.80, which is why we really started to clean out some of those trades. But you can see right here, it's a difficult trade until it's easy. And you know, we were sort of going through one when that was all happening because I wasn't too convinced that this market was going up. So we were able to get out of a lot of that early, and then it just bang through, and we got longer right there on the 40 break. So I think a lot of you witnessed me taking that trade, getting long through 40s. So we bought the dip, then we bought more there. Like, it was just a great trade. Long here, got stopped out, long again, 154, bang, came right back in, said, forget about this. We're here to make money. So we put a shot on there. Look, we were willing to go red on the day, obviously, but it held that 154 level, which was yesterday's close, I guess, ish, around there. That's what we were looking at anyways. And it was posted on the sticky note, and there it goes to the upside. So it should be the #1 stock today, and it is the #1 stock today. It's Nvidia. Welcome to the high side. I thought 153.81 would break tomorrow, but it breaks today, and we're happy that it does that. And yeah, love the stock, and probably looking to get longer if it comes back in. But I would say we'd want to wait for 155 again, but for me, it's just a simple kind of trade. We'll wait to see what happens with Nvidia there today, but real early, real good, and really happy that we found that and put that on the note, so we're able to trade it, and that's it.
I had the same area on Nvidia. I just didn't get the last dip. It ultimately ended up, I'll go to SMCI in a second. We'll get to your super chat, Anthony. So I had it early, a couple of good bounces, and then it really fell down into 54. I did play it. I think 55 is the right place to look instead of VWAP because that's where it bounced before. But SMCI, at the same moment where that second long that we didn't get, that's when I was, and you got to pick and rip. Like, I didn't trade SMCI off the open because I was on Nvidia. And then at the moment when SMCI was breaking its trend and put in that higher low, that was moving instead. I'm going to like this back at VWAP in the 48 level as well. So like you pick and, sort of pick the fighter that you want to roll with. Wow, so yes, not split adjusted, the daily chart. The other thing here is I'm going to be, as long as we hold and keep closing above this 47 area on SMCI, I just feel like the continuation's good here. Long consolidation, then breakout. Now, granted, the last time it had a consolidation break, kind of made a top, and then went sideways, but we've barely even moved away from this consolidation break. I could see us in the mid-50s, low to mid-50s, before we find a little bit of a temporary top on this particular move. The chips are still strong. I mean, for the most part, we didn't talk about Micron, so. All right, Micron didn't have the best of days. Micron's down 2%, sold off on earnings, but that's after a big up move. So this was the weak chip stock here today, despite a double beat and fantastic guidance as well from Micron. But unfortunately, this was the weak chip stock. Can't say that about NVIDIA. You can't say that about most of them, especially NVIDIA, SMCI as well. I'm going to get to this super chat from you, Anthony.
Okay.
Thoughts on HIM's on its way back to 60s, 52-week high is 73. Question mark, well, I thought you were making a statement, but that's a question. Let me just go. I'm going to pull up the daily chart here on eSignal for HIM so that we don't have any crazy wicks. We always talk about that 3-day rule, which is whether it's earnings or big news or just some kind of a market shock. Let it settle down for a little bit. And what actually happened is it finally made a bottom and then held that low the following day. Like, it didn't hold the low 2 days ago after the initial bottom, so it makes a new low and then holds it this morning. That's a very good sign. On the way to the 60s, it's a bit early and a bit much to say. Because remember, the news that took it from here to here is what brought it back down. So you at least need to break this consolidation first at like 48, 49. I think that's the reasonable spot. And then show me buyers above the 50 period again. And if there's buyers above the 50 period, then I'd be convinced that we're closing that entire gap. For now, I just feel like you're comfortable buying it in the low 40s. and maybe playing some momentum back into that level. But I wouldn't be convinced because this was an actual news-based drop. It wasn't some technical, squeezing stocks pulled back. That's not why HIMS pulled back. It pulled back because of news. So I need a little bit more convincing for myself before I was going to get in. Still under that 50 period, show some closes above, and then you can go a little bit hard. Also, Amazon, by the way, that tariff headline, EU saying, what did they say again? It was like considering lowering tariffs. Well, anyways, that had Amazon going higher. When it was going, I was dip buying 217, which is kind of random to still have it in there. But as it's pulling back, this is one I want to pick up this afternoon and play the trend to the upside. Prior high was 217. That's why I'm looking at it. But I could see it bouncing somewhere in front of that as well, and then trying to take a shot on the way back in here of Amazon.
Okay, so we did also get another super show. What's up, Rob Palmer? Yeah, so I see what you're saying here about Palantir. Yeah, I never thought Palantir would go from $9 to $150. It'd be a 20xer. Like, I didn't expect that, but expect the unexpected. And that's the thing, when you're in the right sector, then you can get these kind of explosions. You can also get names that will be in the right sector but never amount to anything, right? So what my hypothesis on Big Bear AI is, they've secured positions with the Air Force, with defense names, with Palantir actually, with Nvidia, with this airport, new airport scanning process that they have. Basically, they are part of the tailwind thought that, if they can get it right, which they have by signing many of these contracts, Big Bear AI does have an opportunity, to turn a profit. There's still, EPS still red. They haven't made any money. But I was doing this with Palantir and with Amazon and with Tesla and all that. A lot of the times you pay up, you have to pay a multiple for a name that you believe is building something that can eventually work and provide long-lasting, stable earnings revenue for the company. So for me, for Big Bear AI-powered, intelligent platforms, that's what they're building, and that's what they have. So is there a moat around them like Palantir? No, they don't have all of those contracts yet. But I think it's a decent opportunity there with all the data that's coming through these days in this space. It needs to be managed and utilized. Big Bear AI is doing that. And sure, there's Google. There's lots of names that are out there, doing big things. But Big Bear AI, their market cap is very, very small. Hold on a second. Here it is, BBAI. That's SoFi. We were looking at that earlier. Big Bear AI. So let me go in to find what their market cap is. And this is even after, quite a nice move right there. $1 billion. All right. So we've seen many names in our day have market caps, like this could double, triple its market cap, right? And so I think that's what kind of you're looking for here. Like that year-over-year revenue growth, 2%, what does that even mean? They are going to be expanding, I'm hoping for, much more rapidly in this environment. We're going to wait for an earnings per share to come through, and I don't know, let me see, where's their earnings date? They also did have an accounting mishap as well over their last report. March, there it is, right? Oh, sorry, July. Yeah, we already went through May 1st. So we have to wait till July 31st. Okay, but as you can see, their EPS, they had minus 42 cents, minus 25 cents. There's some accounting there. So we'll see if we can start to head and trend in the right way. I do see that they did have a positive EPS there in Q3 of 23 there. So we'll figure it out, but the revenue growth could get going for sure. So let's just wait to see. It's just a play in the space. It's like quantum. Like I don't think you're ever going to guess the exact right name to be in, whether or not you're in, QBTS or IonQ or anything like that. It's just the fact that, look, they have the contracts, they're in the right space, and I've seen and we've all seen what can happen when there's positive news stories. about these kind of companies. Like, what do you think is going to happen tomorrow when there's an announcement about Big Bear AI and Palantir joining forces to do something with, you know, the Israeli government or the U.S. government or something like that? You know, these are the deals that are coming through, and I just think that it goes pop goes the weasel when you hear things like that. So for me, Big Bear AI is just the long that I want to hold out for. I'm going to get out. We're already in the money. I'm not taking it. So I do think that this is one of those trades that you could have in your portfolio almost forever. Let's just wait to see. It's in the right space, well positioned to capture a bigger percentage of the space. So I like Big Bear AI, and we're going to sit in there for a minute. My whole portfolio doesn't have, besides being down 90% in all the marijuana names, there's not too much, sort of like long shots that I hold. So I have Intel, which I think has just been depressed for so long. That has a chance to go up. I've recently bought Marvell. I thought that was undervalued down here. So we'll do that. Webull is more of a thing that it's just so brand new. So Neil just mentioned.
For me, it's
Webull.
100% shot play on my TFSA.
Oh no, it's a shot play, but it doesn't have memory. There's no
price.
We don't have anything here. BBAI has been around for a minute. Webull is just so new. And again, great shot play that it has a chance to get back to the upside. But yeah, I think you have to have some names like that.
And with those, don't worry about PE. Like I tell you right now, like I throw up in my mouth when I look at ARM's PE. It's still like 220 something million, or no, it's like 200 and something. And it's nonsensical. But the truth is, you don't ever get the big gainers because it's usually those things that are hardest to value that have the best potential, right? Like if everyone can understand how to value something, it kind of to a certain degree limits your big upside. I'm gonna get to this Sonm story because I know a few people put this in the chat, and if you were watching the midday, I threw it in there when it happened. I don't remember if I said it live. It would have been after. Yeah, you know what? I probably just put this in the chat. So, and this is an important distinction. They have received an offer, a takeout offer, a cash offer to acquire their Orbic to acquire their assets. But it's a non-binding $2.42 offer. Non-binding. That means it is not secure, it is not accepted by the board. It's just out there. If it had been a binding offer when this news happened, it would have probably gone to $2 right away. So just keep that in mind. I don't know how much further it's going to go, but there's somewhat of a bit of a shelf on it because of that, depending on how big the short float is, which I didn't check. I can do that now. Sonm, 4%. So it's really not even, it doesn't even have a huge short float. 6 million float. It's not a very big company. So anyone trading this, great. It's been a good long, but it's not exactly what you think. Here in terms of that $2.42. Like if it was, trust me, if that was like a cash deal, it would be like barcoding up there above $2 for sure. All right, there was something else I was gonna get to here. It'll come to me. Oh, Benton was aftermarket. We get Nike earnings, everybody.
Yep.
Stick around. You got Sean. You got Adara. Nike's trending up. Maybe they like these headlines with the EU. I don't know how much that's gonna matter to them. I think it's probably a better deal for Amazon. But thoughts on their earnings? Look, ultimately, have we really gotten away from China risk? Have they solved their problems with inventory? I'm skeptical. The last time I had an apparel name, I'm trying to remember exactly. It was a year and a half or 2 years ago. I had a swing trade in Lululemon. That's pretty much it. I don't think I've had anything in apparel outside of that, and it didn't last very long. It was just like a quick little move there. So it's got a good consolidation on it, which will lend itself to a solid trade if it can hold this consolidation. But I'd be a little bit concerned still for Nike. I like that it's running up here, but we don't have finalized deals yet. There's still a lot hanging in the air for them that'll go past the earnings numbers that you get here that still have to be resolved. So I think regardless of what the numbers are, it's a pass for me because until we have an idea how trade is going to go, it's just a tricky space to be in. We're in a massive bull market that hasn't been one for this space. So why force the action? Get some certainty, wait till maybe the back half of the year. For names like these. And out of my morbid curiosity, I'm kind of curious where Lululemon is right now because I just said it, so I'm going to pull it up.
It wasn't your 5-year lows. Better.
Yeah, well, it was 2 years. It was 2 years ago. Time, honestly, like it's weird. You get a little bit older. We've been doing this for so long that I'll forget. Like in my head, I was like, oh, this was last year. I don't even think it was last year. Let me just pull out the daily. No, it was. Yeah, maybe it was. It was last year. Okay, it wasn't 2 years ago. It was last year. So, anyways, I mean, you guys know how I tend to like. If I probably said it before. Like when you're trending down, the second a stock takes the 50-period moving average, go for the long. I did this with Snowflake as well. And then, it played back into the 200. It didn't do that well. Well, okay, check that. It almost doubled. I shouldn't say it didn't do that well. I didn't do that well on it because I probably took like just under half of the move because I'm getting out when it loses the 200-period moving average and breaks a trend. Like I'm probably only making like 25 to 30% on that when it could have gone even more. But that's just how I roll. And then look what happens. Even if you bag hold that, just take it when it reverses momentum and play the momentum. I guess you could play it better than I would have. But once it comes back down, get your butt out of there. So maybe Nike's got something like that in it, where now you're holding the 50 period. It's not as bad as Lululemon on the daily chart, although it's not that great either. Where you get your play, it breaks out, you ride it for a while, and then you just exit stage left. I think it's got something like that in there. A Nike, but it requires some patience because the trend is still unbroken.
All right. I just want to talk about a new position. So I'll hit the sirens because I've been in it and just didn't get a chance to talk about it because we're talking about Big Bear AI, and then Neil take that question about Nike, Lulu, et cetera. But we're in an Apple short right now, and so it's just bouncing off. I was going to play it against this 201.40 area. Well, I am playing it against this 201.40 area. It's not given much. It's the first trade we've made on Apple here today. And I want to go short, but you do have an area right there of 201.50, and that's what I was going to play off of. So I do have another offer waiting a little bit higher than where we are right now. Don't want to get shut down or anything on this position, obviously. Not shut down. We're not going to get shut down on our account, but I just mean like I don't want this trade to like completely be the widowmaker for my account today or anything like that. It hasn't been an absolutely monstrous day at all, as I hope that computer still works. That just fell down, but Mark is here, so it's fine. They're just like, it's fine. It's fine. Like the computer just completely toppled over.
Yeah, you don't know that it's fine.
No, but in all seriousness, a couple memory cards moving
No, but
around.
this happened, and someone was like, oh, the trading, this back when it was a full trading floor, I remember I was on the bridge, someone did that, and they're like, oh, my PC is fine, and then like 3 days later,
oh no, you don't want any loose cable.
No,
because the thing is, if something's a little loose and then it jiggles, like sometimes my monitor, I'll be like, what that just happened to my monitor? And it's just like, it's been bumped a little bit too many times.
And it's your trading station.
Yeah,
you probably want to make sure that it's
computer
fine.
smash. It reminds me of the other time there when I dropped right where Joe was on the stage. I just took my keyboard because it wasn't working, and I basically ripped it off and just like dropped it like that, and all of a sudden, like everything going. We might have those highlights.
Yeah, in fairness, like you said, it was a keyboard that was getting thrown out anyway.
Oh no, the fact is I was sitting over there.
The Office Space did.
I'm like, how is someone sitting here trading with this thing? Backspace wasn't working. Also, I just unplugged it.
Okay, hold on a second though.
Chucked it.
Remember that was
like Dell
that was when we were taking turns on the midday.
The
day before, I had used that one, and I had warned you. I'm like, there's something wrong with this keyboard.
Wow. Yeah, and there was.
And there was something wrong.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a small deal because it was like when I forget what key it was, but it was like certain keystrokes were literally not working. So if you guys can see how I'm working, like if I have keys that are shift something to buy or sell, like I use this shift because that's how my hands are set up. It was like the shift wasn't working, so if I wanted to use that key, I'd have to do something like just different keystroke, which is big problem.
Day trader cut. He's like, so we have what I'm saying by the Dell keyboard is like a lot of the computers around here were Dell or are Dell. I mean, now they're kind of they're different. But when we were ordering a bunch of them, and Dell would send you, like the basic mice or whatever that comes with the computer. So they were just like $10 keyboards or something. Anyways, but now we have like these ones are more.
These are old school.
Or they see how they have like the whatever you call it, their
There's a
not
word for it.
perforated,
The mechanical.
but, yeah, more mechanical, right? So they're a little bit higher up. So when we're hitting our keys, like I can just put out buy like 5 different buys on different gateways in a couple seconds because these are higher up instead of being indented and you gotta hit the keys like that. But anyways, we did have that with that computer, easy trading computers right there. I think as a trader, it is very important that you have a comfortable setup.
Yes.
Including we have Herman Miller chairs over here. Sharif has, of course, his obus form because he's old. Show that. Yeah,
it's like
show
heated. It does massages.
And if everybody, we do have guests. There it is. There's his obus form right there. Hey, Joe, how's it going there? That's Joe's arm. What's up? What's up, Joe? Of course. Why do you always have to flex? What? Yeah, you're a funny guy. But no, we do have some guests here. We're getting ready for our guest interview of the day. And the thing is that, you can see behind us now, we are going through a transformation in the studio. Big time. We are, we completely kicked out all the traders there behind us. We used to have a trading floor with 20 or 30 computers there behind us, as you know. But that big black wall behind us, of course, used to be all windows. It was really nice. And now we're going through a little bit of a period of renovation.
Still nice.
And I think that's not that nice. But we're going through renovations here. The time frame that we had was like early to mid fall. I'm going to extend that into the winter months.
You think?
Yeah, I'm going to extend that. We ran into some piping issues, needless to say. So,
unfortunately.
Fabian and Andre, just let me know if and when you guys feel like you're ready. But for right now, I'll just talk about the Apple trade just real quickly because this is going to be the one that we're in right now. We've been exiting out. We only have about a third left of this TQ's trade as it's trying to break a little bit lower. So we're going to wait for that one. But you can't be long the market and short Apple. I just don't think that's, although today, fine, because the relationship is like that. But if the market tanks, we'll lose on one trade and win on this one. That's not, I'd rather rest my head right here with a short in Apple than a long in the market. So we'll just start to piece this out as we go. But for me, Apple short into the close is kind of what I'm thinking. It's red here today. It was the only short idea that I had, and I think Neil would mention this as well, on our note today. So for me, Apple short is what I want to ride with. I do have another bid to get out here, low 90s. So hopefully that will fill. Here it comes, 94. And I'll give you a hint. My bid's not at 94 or at 92. It's at 93 right there. So we take that fill right now on this position.
World Series champions.
I have 3 times, back-to-back World Series champions, your Toronto Blue Jays. I do have 3 times the shares on Apple than I do on the Nasdaq. So I'm going to actually sell out of the Nasdaq right now. Anything you want to talk about? You had a new position?
Well, very quickly, I said I would buy 217 on Amazon, and I bought 217.02 on the way back, and I let it bounce. There's your low. There's the bounce, went back to 217, and my stop is right underneath this prior bar. So on a 3-minute, pretty easy to see where the stop is going to be taking some profit on the way to the highs. But we are ready now. We have our guest interview of the afternoon.
Let's go.
All right, thanks so much, guys. Yeah, we're excited because we were just talking actually off camera before we came on about the interest that we've seen over the past couple of weeks come back into the small cap world in general. And we're going to kind of dissect and get into how to look for maybe the next unicorn and the next big winner that could come over the next months, maybe weeks, maybe even a year or so. Sheldon Iwantash is the CEO of 3D Capital. It's so good to have you in the studio. It's a rarity for us right now because, as you saw, we're under a little bit of a construction project right now. So thanks for coming by. We appreciate it.
No, this is a great opportunity, and so thanks for having me.
Our pleasure.
Look forward to it.
Yeah, our pleasure. Let's dive right in because I think there's a lot to discuss. You're a guy who has all kinds of experience in this field and doing what you're doing currently. Why don't we start with a little bit of a background on you first, and then we'll get into 3D.
Sure, I'm happy to do that. I won't try not to take up the whole show because I'm not a young guy, but I've been in basically started off as a CPA in my academic career, but went and became an analyst in oil and gas, and then started to build early stage companies. I'm known for a company called Pine Tree Capital, which I founded in 1992, basically took over a Shell at 10 cents, and then basically we exited at $26, and it was basically building a number of companies from the ground floor, seed, pre-seed, helping them grow, and then exit, and probably in the throes raising over $30 billion for these companies. So 3D Capital is basically the second incarnation of what Pine Tree did through that period of time.
So people can almost look at it as you were saying, before we came on camera here, it's the arc, if you will, of the Canadian side of things, but we're looking at a grander scale in sense. And tell us a little bit about the theory here. Tell us a little bit about how we find that next big winner, that next big unicorn. Sure.
Like we've been, after you've been involved in companies that you've built and you've exited and investors have had a great experience, you tend to get some pretty top quality deal flow. And we've been basically, I should position this, stealth for a number of years. Up until now, we believe the second half of this year, many of the companies that came to us and we backed and we funded for the last 7 or 8 years are now commercializing. So I don't really want to be here to arm wave and say, guess what? We're going to find the next cure to this and we really know that what we're doing.
Sure.
No, it's all about commercialization, exit. I think investors today are show me, they want to see results, and that's really why I'm on this show today, to debut us with your audience, to watch us, to have the eyeballs, to be patient. I believe our stock has bottomed. We've not been very newsworthy, although we did make an announcement yesterday around DeLorean, Web3. But we basically have felt that it's a launch pad now for things to talk about, and there's many things to talk about.
You hinted on one there. Let's talk about maybe a few others in the portfolio. Give us some highlight.
Sure. We have an extremely disruptive company in the micropayment space that is launching right now with Oracle, Google, and then a couple major banks, Canadian banks, CIBC, RBC, and then Bank of America. And basically they have figured out how to scale blockchain-like, but not blockchain, payments rail, where there's an unlimited amount of transactions that can be done at a time. There's no limitation, with costs of almost zero. So they are launching now for the streaming market. That's where they think their first addressable market's going to be. And they've already onboarded over 100 titles. They're basically going to go to the movie arena for content and documentaries. And they just launched in Cannes literally a month ago. So very, very fresh. We have another company called Hypercycle that is basically created the Internet of AI. So all AI systems and agents can speak to each other. And it is basically in the throes of launching as well. We have companies from AI to quantum computing, company Dynex, that's basically emulated what is done on a hardware basis using software for quantum. Very disruptive, very new. We have another company that we think is one of the biggest innovations in heart diagnostics, maybe the largest in 60 years. It's one of our companies that we're behind called AIML Innovations. It's a public company. And we believe ultimately, we're not going to make that claim today, but not in the near to future, through wearable technology, they're probably going to be able to predict patterns in your heart that would get ahead of when a heart attack or a heart stroke or any heart event could happen. And that company we're going to have come on your show as well, because they're launching in the next 30 days. These are just some examples. We have AI for smart cities. We have 60 companies in our portfolio, so I can't speak about them all today, but they're all in the throes of traction now, and we believe they're all going to become multi-bagger companies.
There's so many different very important topics that are being addressed and very important problems that are being addressed with these types of companies and these size of companies. So why do you think now we're starting to see more and more activity and more interest coming back into the small cap world? what has, I guess, from a market perspective, what has changed? What has shifted back toward that size of project being in favor?
Yeah, so it's all about risk capital. And I think what we've seen in the last number of years is a lot of market volatility, starting with the Russia invading Ukraine, and then the market got very uncertain. And we've had these cycles of volatility, which is very risk averse for people. They don't want to take risk because the smaller spectrum stocks always get hammered the worst. And what markets and I guess investors really don't like is illiquidity. Everybody wants liquidity. And there's been a lot of shakeouts. There was the tariff situation in America, and that now has all seemed to have shaken out Bitcoin, gold. Now everything is sort of in a bull market. And we're seeing the trickle down begin from whether it be the Dow or Nasdaq. The real players are there. People are believing and having confidence now that there's stability out there. There's velocity of money, interest rates, which are a function of inflation. The numbers have come down, so people aren't worried about interest rates going into double digits and the fear mongering. So that liquidity tends to give people the confidence, and then they take higher risk and they go down to smaller cap stocks.
So let's look out 3 months, 6 months down the road. What does this look like? What does this project look like? Where do you see we end up in that time frame?
I think we're going to be on a multi-year bull market when it comes to small companies, small cap. I think that we're going to see a lot of alternative investing as well that's acceptable. I think the AI revolution is we've just seen the beginnings of that. And it's going to result in efficiencies in market. It's going to, I believe, reduce the supply chain to the point where there's going to be less friction in doing commercial business, and companies are going to be extremely efficient and more productive and more profitable. And this is just going to really bring in many new companies with new applications. And I just think it's all the ingredients are there for a massive bull market in very small companies.
As we've seen, and as we started this off with, just the beginning, I think a lot more excitement, a lot more attention coming back into the small cap world in general. IDK, the ticker guys on the CSE, Sheldon Imwintash is CEO of 3D Capital. It's great to have you.
Oh, it was great to be here.
Thanks for doing this.
Thank you very much, Sheldon. And that's one thing that we ask all the time around here, like, what's next? What's the next trade? What's the next idea? What's the next opportunity? And as trader investor, that's pretty much where you want to go. So we look forward to having Sheldon back on to talk more about some of those companies. Get them. We were just mentioning on the getting in early in spaces that have growth potential, future growth potential, and that's what you want to do. Like, understand it on an early basis, and then you can be good to go. A couple of things. Well, we were in Amazon. Yeah, like right before we went, I mentioned Amazon came into that 217 area. The first move is back into the 35 to 40 range, which you just put in, so a couple legs out there. Then I'm looking for high of the day. While that happened, I made a typo. I said it, I was trying to praise people in the chat. I was like, Big Bear AI into VWAP. I'm like, no, Neil, Big Bear AI was breaking out the high of the day. And it was just a typo on my part, so it's breaking. That said, it still has overhead resistance from yesterday's high, a few pennies higher than this. Because of that, going with a really tight stop. I usually say do not punch long into overhead resistance. Well, the high of the day broke, and it's like, oh, well, 5 cents higher is overhead resistance. So I'm probably just gonna get out if we fail the 80 level and keep it tight, because really the bigger break is above $5.90 on BBAI. Sometimes you get a little bit ahead of yourself there. The other thing I was gonna show is Tesla. Look, last time Tesla, whether it's yesterday or this morning, when it broke 325, instant flush, reversal back through, and when it got back through 325, it was a clear long. It did that in the afternoon. It did that this morning. I don't wonder if we get the same break of 25. I'm not necessarily thinking short the break. I'm actually going to wait for it to break and then maybe do the reversal back through 325 on Tesla. So it's breaking underneath VWAP now. I'm going to wait to see if we get that opportunity here. Tesla red. We'll see. Like, I don't know that it's going to do what it did the last couple of days, but I'm going to play for that shot back through the upside on Tesla if it breaks at 325. I mean, it has to break it first.
Again, some traders asking where to find 3D. It's IDK on the CSE. You can go find them listed there. Also listed on the OTC market. So 3D listed as IDK over on the CSE here in Toronto, well, in Canada, located in Toronto, but in Canada anyways. I remember I went to the CSE's head offices. I think it was on top of the BMO building or something. It was up there. Okay, so that's Apple coming in again. I just want to tell you, we just got an 85, Phil, I believe, on Apple. Yeah, 86, Phil, down there on Apple as we came back in a little bit. Getting lighter. I mean, again, the market's kind of barcoding, not doing too much right now. So we're going to wait to see if there's anything happening moving forward with the market and or Apple. We did get out of... So I've only traded, I just looked over here again, I've only traded 6 symbols today. Apple, AMD here, I'll just sort of zoom out to give you guys an idea. AMD was in and out real quick, early. We thought the long was gonna hit today, and it did not. So we tried to play it off of some of the pre-market or some of this wick low there at 8 o'clock. But yeah, that didn't hold that 144 into yesterday's closing price, right? And so that didn't hold. So that was an L there. Marvell was actually a flat trade. In there, up, out, in again, out once it broke through VWAP, and now Marvell's all the way back up. So I wish that we, again, like, you want to talk about getting stopped out. There's Marvell, 79.45 stop out right there. And then that move happens right back there to the upside. So in, out again there for MRVL. Nvidia, you know, we've already rang the register on that one right there. So that was obviously a big trade. Palantir was actually a really good trade too. We were able to go back and forth with Palantir in there, and boom, right there on the 145 break. So this was another one. So my 2 best stocks are the 2 ones that we had written on here. Now we're going to play Apple short, which is now 17 cents in the money. That's good enough for me. But that's a move there on Palantir. And then the TQQs as well. Nice trade, but flat. We were short and lost. We were long and won, and then we covered for flat when we were like, let's just play the Apple to the short side. So we're doing that, and now that's trying to break lower, but I don't know what Apple wants to do over at this area. We didn't have anything on iBit, and Neil's traded...
Bitcoin's been...
You've traded many more names than me, but I don't know which one. What is because you've traded so many... let me ask, I'm going to ask you a different question. What was the one trade that you felt
SMCI.
was your worst?
Oh, worst? Oh.
Yeah, the other way, because we always champion. No,
I tried to anticipate what you were going to say. Oh, the worst trade?
Yeah,
that's
like,
easy.
That's
easy. It was Apple this morning because I didn't.
Apple, yeah.
Because I always talk about front end, backhand, but front end, back end of the trade. It was really because I got the front end of the Apple short. That's all. Front end of the Apple short. That's whether or not you relatively I didn't make a mess of it. I could have made a mess of it, but the exact same levels. Here's the difference: the exact same price levels on the way back down. Even if you get stopped out, it's possible. Like here, you shorted this wick up could have stopped you out, but it's just a better trade regardless. So you have a better opportunity. And then early off the open, I took this. I saw this reversal candle here, and then took that out, but. I like to try those a little bit of setups so if you can find them. The disappointing trade of the day was Micron, actually. If I'm just going straight disappointment, Micron, and part of the reason was, I said this morning, I think I got bamboozled out of Micron early when it made this 50-cent move. I'm it's probably going to go higher. And then it still went lower. They really, really wanted to sell Micron. I say they, you know what we mean when we say they. There's no... I'm just talking about the algos and big money and all that kind of stuff. It just lumped them all together. And they just really wanted to sell Micron. It just did not hold that 125. I thought you hold 125 and then it's all go VWAP or something better because it was good earnings. But you don't want to get too wrapped up in the whole, hey, they beat top and the bottom and it was a great guide, the stock has to go up. If you did that every single time, we just had an event, was it last week that we were out with the campus guys? And I was telling some stories. Everyone's like, "Oh, what's the worst thing that can happen for a trader?" and I was describing a trader that Sean and I had on our floor years and years ago. And I'll never forget, like one day, and he was a positive, he was a good trader, he was a positive trader, and he's up, you know, he's up well in the middle of the day. And then all of a sudden, I just see P&Ls going down. I'm like, I don't even recognize the stock that he's in. I'm like, what is this thing? And he's like, oh man, they reported, they beat, their earnings were great, the conference call I was listening to was fantastic, and the market, the stupid market's selling it off. And it was some random Toronto stock that he, by the way, owned in his personal account, so therefore believed in. And as the stock's going down, he's just complaining about how everyone is getting the report wrong. And it's like, who cares what you think? Look at the tape. Like, your stock was tanked. There wasn't a bid on it. Like, it was, this is TSX. Like, when there's nobody on the bid, you know there's nobody on the bid. And so you can't get too wrapped up in what you think should happen.
What's going on with Uber?
But what's Uber? Good? Please be good.
It is good, yeah.
It is good.
Great. Yeah, we didn't sell any of Uber at all over the last little while, but Uber does have some news, and Adara is all over it.
So here is UBER, New York Times reporting that former CEO Travis Kalanick is apparently in talks with Uber to help fund his takeover of Pony AI. So keep an eye on UBER and PONY. Again, former Uber CEO Travis Kalanick apparently talking to Uber to help fund his takeover of Pony AI. Unclear what role Uber would have in this, given that Travis Kalanick hasn't been involved with the company for a while. But keep an eye on PONY and UBER, and back to you.
So Uber goes up, Tesla goes down.
Yeah, but what is Pony AI? What does it have anything to do with? What does it have anything to do with Tesla?
That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Right, exactly. So, all right, there it goes right now, and then we just looked at Pony as well, as that's starting to ride
that's probably going crazier.
Yeah, it's going way crazier. Up 20% right now for Pony AI. Maybe Derek can find out what Pony AI does, and then we'll be able to think about where that again. Pony AI, Big Bear AI. I mean, I feel like if you have an animal and then you put AI after it or something like that, then you might have a move.
That's probably literally how they rolled.
This just in, Katina Capital is starting a new fund, Wolf AI. And we'll see
llama?
if we can get that. Llama AI? Well, then we might get sued.
Oh, no, because llama's the
I'm
thing
going to think of, my daughter plays with Etobicoke Dolphins.
Alpaca.
Dolphin AI? I don't know if that's good enough, but anyways.
Dolphins? Oh, well, okay, fine.
Yeah, it's called Etobicoke Dolphins.
I'm going to try not to get triggered, but, you know, there's only... I don't like the Dolphins. I don't like the Dolphins.
Oh, Miami Dolphins.
I don't like Jets.
Yeah.
And I don't like
Miami
Patriots.
Dolphins has turned out to be like...
I like Patriots in the general sense. I just don't like the team name Patriots for obvious reasons, everybody. But, like, yeah, I'm trying to figure out why Tesla is rocking.
We already are trader
on.
AI. I mean, I'm kind of already an AI.
Like, Tesla says this is too weak of a move. You know what?
Yeah, I'm not worried about Tesla. I'm not. But there goes Apple. So we are trying to cover some of that as it gets down into the downside right now. A little bit of a slower pace to today. We wait for Nike earnings. Adara's got it.
So here is the PONY situation. You guys might have heard of this name before. It is a small cap runner. And in case you were not aware, they do basically autonomous mobility type stuff. They're actually a Chinese company. And as of a couple days ago, they were added to one of China's AI indices. It's called the Nasdaq Golden Dragon China Index. So that's been added to that index as of a couple days ago. That's the context with PONY. So again, Uber apparently in talks to help their former CEO, Travis Kalanick, fund his planned buyout of Pony AI. And if the buyout goes through, Travis Kalanick would take over Pony AI. Back to you.
Were there details?
Taking it over.
Okay, so no details on price or anything like that. Well, I was just trying to think of if anyone's trying to chase Pony, if we had any kind of details as to what it might be, cash stock, speculation. That's good to know that if you don't have any details on deal speculation, if you don't know any numbers, yikes, just maybe you find some technicals out there, but I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole on Pony. If there's a deal, great. If there isn't, then hopefully no one gets rugged. I hope the fate is better than that Shell thing the other day, because that was kind of silly. I felt where it's like, yeah, a deal's happening, a deal's not happening. Sorry, everybody, we're not interested at all. So it's going to be. I told you it would be a relatively tight stop on BBAI because it still has overhead resistance at 590. The break was not at 85. The break was at 90. And yeah, well, I just got out when it broke the 80 level, got out at 79 there. I don't think that one, and it doesn't have, this is declining volume as well. That's the other thing. Amazon, the reason Amazon's going up, at least I think, The timing of when it made that bigger move back into the upside had to do with the EU thing. The EU basically hinting that they're going to woo Trump by lowering some tariffs without any specifics as to what that actually might look like. So I'm just looking for it to get back into the high of the day. If anything, like we've been sliding back from the highs on the Nasdaq for the last hour or so. This is a 15-minute chart, so actually more than an hour. We've been making red candles. So if we can get back into the top, I want to play this into the highs. It's 320. I don't know if there's going to be anything else. I feel as if in the afternoon, like the pocket has been a couple of trades, maybe, and sometimes there's 1, 2, 3. But if it's more than that, I find like it's over trading. We're not getting that kind of volatility. And there was, oh yeah, the early look is what I was going to go to as well. It's not quite 330 yet, but I want to keep an eye on this early look just to see if we get anything interesting. The month end will have some rebalancing, I believe, in the Russell. So you should see less of a month tomorrow. It might actually end up being on Monday that I'll miss. But yeah, you might see some bigger imbalances tomorrow than today, but we still could expect to see something in here. Early look has what, like CVE? This is from the morning because you can tell by the time whatever HCTI is. You never care about the Canadian banks. Pfizer, you never care about. Disney with an early look buy of 1 million shares. Haven't seen that on there for a while. TSLZ's there, PM. Nothing really crazy that stands out. Yeah, I haven't seen Disney on the imbalance locator. I mean, I don't think ever. So 1 million early buy. It's only done 6 million. Good day for Disney, by the way. Up 1.6, just trending up. That's pretty good.
Yeah, so Elio was a disaster for them, and we talked about Pixar, like their biggest miss by far. So
well, just remember, now I'm not going to watch it because you said it's a disaster.
It's been a disaster.
Oh, you didn't watch it?
No.
Oh, I thought
I was saying that in the
okay, gotcha. The reviews.
I don't even know about the reviews, just the box office. It was the worst box office release ever for Pixar.
They don't usually miss, man.
That's what I'm saying. So if they're missing, I think it might be a bigger problem with the box office, period. I don't think Mission Impossible did that well either, to be honest with you. Again, I don't know. This is all hearsay that I'm creating. So, all right. Yeah, Apple has a buyer underneath of it right now, it seems like, because the market's not really doing anything, and Apple just kind of has been ticking up. So I'll just take advantage of that. Takes them out there at 99 right now on a dip down. I'm going to get out if we break 20s, I decided. I'm not even going to wait for 35s. I mean, the high right there is 35. I don't need to be in this already. We're up on Apple. It's been good for us today. There's only one name that we're down on, AMD. Well, we are slightly down also on the TQs, but yeah, AMD is the one that we're down on, and that's because we tried, again, we just put our, like, what we're down on AMD today is a fraction of what we've been up when we're up, but still, we tried it into that closing price. Let's check out Big Bear AI. Put some names in the chat, because I'm just going to be watching out for this Apple, and I have my alerts here as well, like PayPal right there. PayPal just had a nice move up. I was looking at it and was going to try to bring you guys maybe a PayPal trade or something like that. PayPal, Intel, Oxy, PayPal again, JP Morgan, Hood, SMR. Those are just things that are hitting different scanners that I've pre-set up, and there's why PayPal's on there. PayPal goes through the roof a little bit there and coming back in. So I was like, if PayPal was anywhere near some of this, I didn't even look for the story or anything, so I don't know. But PayPal did have a nice move up on decent volume there, a little bit of a volume spike into that 3 p.m. print, and then all the way back down there now for PayPal. So this could be a short also, but I'd like to see it. Actually, it might be more of a long maybe than a short in case that story, whatever that was, comes through again. I don't think it was anything, but there's PayPal right there. So we have that. The other one that came across was JP Morgan. And this one's more coming back in a little bit. Yeah, so JP Morgan breaking the range to the downside here. What a great story this has been in the last little while for JPM. So again, I took some out around 280 that first time that it got up here into that high right there. And I'm just talking about long-term or into my personal account. But with bank earnings just around the corner for JP Morgan, I think they're going to have huge reports. And let's just see when exactly they report. JP Morgan here. Details. There's Big Bear AI. How's it going, Big Bear? Want me to adjust my mic? Okay, I'll adjust my mic. All right, so right here we have, July the 15th. You tell me how that sounds now, Andre. There it is right here, July the 15th right there. So actually, I take that back. That's still 3 weeks actually away from their report. They always are one of the first bank, WFC, JP Morgan. and someone else always seems to report first. So we'll wait for that. It's Goldman. I feel like the second day is always, I mean, it might be BAC. It's always, I thought it was always like Citi, Goldman. Anyways, I don't know. We can just.
I just know that Morgan.
Easily just look it up.
Morgan's always after JPM.
Right. Yeah.
Morgan Stanley is always after JPM, so I always have an idea of how the big boys are going before you worry about the others.
Yesterday afternoon, we hit a huge trade on Tesla breaking the level, and I almost was thinking about it again, but there's not the same kind of levels that we had yesterday. Remember, yesterday the Tesla break was right here at this time of day. You know, we looked at that level right there, and remember we had it on. It was actually 2:30, but still in the afternoon. And we had a nice move down in there, gave us a couple dollars. Just looking for Tesla right now. I think Tesla needs to at least break this 324.75 area. Then you have some buy the dip opportunities on these wicks. But yeah, I'm going to stay away from Tesla. What's up with Adara?
Keep an eye on PYPL. You guys mentioned this. I couldn't find any news on it. I just wanted to give you an update. Some people on X are talking about it. I have absolutely no news to explain the move. There's also this OST, Austin Technology. It's a Chinese ADR. It is down like from $8. Right now we're trading around 57 cents. I also have no news. So really odd move. It is a Chinese ADR. Sorry, it's not even a Chinese ADR. It's a Chinese company listed on the Nasdaq. If I can find anything out, I'll let you know. But yeah, pretty weird look. Also, keep an eye on AAPL. I'm just seeing a story come out here. Apparently, Apple is changing its policies for its European app developers to avoid further fines from Europe. They're going to be challenging the EU's, $583 million DMA fine by the deadline of July 7th. Apparently, yeah, they're just reworking some App Store terms to get rid of some EU antitrust fines, or at least attempt to curb them. Back to you.
There has to be some. What is the news with OST? No, this is a buy. This is a buy. 100% a buy. Down 92%.
It's halting up. It's halting up right now. I didn't get it.
Oh, crap.
I didn't get filled.
Why didn't I just?
No, I didn't get filled. It opened back. So it opened back up. We were just, anyways. So when it goes into, just to explain what just happened there. When a stock goes into a halt, if you're trying to buy it and it's an up halt, you can just bid and hope to get filled. So I just bid 70 and hope to get filled. I didn't get filled. But what we were just talking about is if there's no news on something that does this, hey, why not? Like worst comes to worst, like you get long at that halt at 70, and like you can do two things. You can just put a stop in. What I would do here is I'd put a stop in under 50 because that's the actual low, and then just see where it opens up. But with no news, for this to get the entirety of the move from April to 9, and then in one shot go back down in, like that's all. Anyways, the opportunity is gone, so let's forget about that. You have to try to get it right away when it opened up. Like that, I was like, there's got to be news. I searched like everywhere I could find. Once I found nothing, I wanted to take a shot at it, but I missed. It probably is going to open up higher now. I believe we're going back to Adair. Maybe we have something else on this. And by the way, 17 million shares. It's not like it's not doing volume. A lot of volume.
Zero news, Neil, but I have a little bit of context. So I looked more into this on X. There is an individual here on X by the name of Nathan Michaud. He runs Investors Live, and he does some, I guess, a lot of stock analysis and comparing different moves. So he had actually a while ago, a couple of weeks ago, as of June 13, he had flagged OST as a potential gap down, much like this stock, JYD. Basically, this investor, Nathan Michaud, had pointed out this pattern in a lot of these NASDAQ-listed Chinese stocks, including this JYD. The other one he named was CLEU, and he said that these stocks, without news, completely randomly, CLEU is not even showing up here for me, so these JYD, CLEU, and OST stocks like this tend to have this random urge to have these intense gaps with no news. So he called this move out about 2 weeks ago. With that in mind, it looks like this is just kind of a pattern of these stocks. If you look at the JYD daily chart here is OST, they look very similar. I just see sudden news-free moves to the downside. Apparently, this is a bit of a pattern, so that's all I'm seeing beyond this like technical pattern. I still don't have any news on it, but I think it's really interesting to point out that apparently this has happened before, and there were people that were watching this and aware of it. Back to you.
Well, it's a good look. And I think in sympathy sometimes, if you can find a bunch of others that are in the same cohort, which I guess in that particular case would be low float Chinese ADRs that have no reason doing what they're doing, you find a sympathy. Like when that's halted for the first time to the downside, you can probably go somewhere else and find a name that's going to be a bit similar. And then while it's, that's probably still going, and you can try to go to the downside. But once it hits a low like that, like that's nonsense. 9 to 50 cents, your risk to reward is pretty juicy to take any kind of a long. And I'll go to the chart. There was a better long than the one I was trying to get. But Amazon, it goes up to the $0.50. It just comes back underneath break even. So 17 in, 17 out. Looks like that's all it's going to be able to give you. The market's not really moving all that crazy here, but we did go, like, here's the thing. Like, the reason I don't necessarily love a reload, the market just bounced back to the high, and in that move, Amazon pulled back into the 17 level. So it doesn't really set up for a logical reload for me. But just last thought on that, what the heck was it called again now? Shoot. Oh, I can just check my order log.
OST, you mean?
OST. I'm like, I can check my order log because that order's on it. OST. There was a better, like I tried to get 70 here. The real opportunity, see the open volume candle here when it opens at like 50 cents. Man, you got to zoom. I can't really zoom in far enough. It opens at 50 cents. It actually gave you a halt up here, like when it just went 50 to 60. That's the real long, because then you're actually risking like 20% total. Like 50, you're long in the 50s, or maybe at worst case at like 60 cents, and you're risking underneath 50 cents on a stock, which could do anything. And really, if it just goes back to like $1, you'd be happy on that. But you'd be playing halt to halt. Like you're just at that point saying, okay, I'm risking the 25 points or the 40 points or whatever it is. And maybe you're holding it into the close, maybe you're holding it into an even dollar. It's just kind of like a one-off type. You just don't see that happen very often. So I think it's worth the shot when you do. Unfortunately.
Well, something's going on with Apple. It's just ripping right now. So it's a good thing we got stopped at where we got in on Apple. We'll put the money in our pocket and run away. It looks like Apple has some news here. What's up?
Yeah, I mentioned this like right when it came out, actually. But so Apple apparently changing policies for European app developers to avoid further fines. Apparently, they're going to be challenging the EU's 583 million DMA fine by July 7th. That is a massive fine for AAPL, so understandably they're going to challenge that, and they're reworking some of their App Store terms and their policies to avoid further fines. That's all the news I'm seeing on this. Again, did mention this right when it came out. I was able to actually see it as I was doing another story. Back to you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so Apple trying to go, and I don't know. I mean, that's an older, feels like that was like quite a move. I mean, that might have just been a liquidity pop there, also breaking right back through. But again, like I said, man, we could talk about a lot of trades here on the show, what things are setting up, and sometimes they'll work, sometimes they won't. You can judge us by the positions that we have on. Right now, we're flat. So if there's anything you guys want us to look at, we can look at something, make a call, and if it's right, great. But if we don't put it on, I mean, we can't believe that much in the trade. Just like this Big Bear AI, like I'm looking at this right here, looks like it would be topping out just a little bit here. The last time we kind of barcoded, we did have a move down. We haven't really done too much barcoding throughout the day. And right now it looks like we're getting a little bit of a top right there at 590. So, if all of a sudden this thing goes down to 565 right now, it's not like, oh, wow, like, Sean was calling that 590 top or anything like that. I mean, I don't really know if that is the top or not, but that's just something that you want to look at. And again, just comes with experience. Like you want to get into the names, obviously, that are popping off and have some sort of a volume spike. And that's why we have those scanners that are going off. So, watch out for a Big Bear AI. It looks like, it potentially is slowing down a little bit right now, into the close. It's not, we already done 250 million shares. It was 300 million shares 2 days ago, about 250 yesterday, and looks like it's trying to best that here today at 330. So yeah, it looks like that Apple. See, like this is what I'm saying about news stories, like flash in the pan stories like that. So again, like I was like, even when Adara said that, I'd heard her say it the first time, and but there's the break, and here's it coming right back in. So that's why sometimes you do get fooled a little bit by those takeouts. And the thing is, that's why I basically tightened the stop right there. Just it wasn't giving me anything lower. So I was like, and just in case we do pop out, let's get out, and that way we don't have to worry. Because otherwise, I would have been stopped out at a 50 break, which basically would have gave me out right there, right? So zooming back out of Apple, right into there. If we were playing off this break, that was actually it was never 50. It was always going to be 36s or so. But again, we suffer a less of an ill fate there by getting out at 20, once it breaks that level. So yeah, always something to look at when you're talking about trades, and make sure that you feel strongly enough to actually, put the trade on. And for me, we were just trying to play the short there in Apple. Once it broke, we got out, and there's the pop right back into, again, a level that when you look back at it, should have shorted that. But when you don't know the news, it is just what it is. So
Speaking of news,
yeah,
that Uber
there's
pony
another
thing.
story.
So Uber pulls almost, like not all the way, but almost all the way back in on that. It was the Pony AI news, and of course, conversely, remember we were saying like, what does this have to do with Tesla? Like, is there just some algo that if Uber goes up on volume, Tesla has to go down? Is it really that simple? Because the second that happened, Tesla just went to the downside. It did wick that 325. Yeah, we missed it, but I mean, come on, like we're looking at. I was trading Amazon at the time, and I was looking at OST, which I'm not going to forget the name of that ticker ever again at this point. So if you're ever, like, this did not do the move. Also, too, like, it didn't do the move. Like, yesterday, when it broke 325, it went down to 322.5. Today, when it broke 325, it went down to 323.5. This time, if you were looking for the failed breakdown reversal on Tesla, it went to 324.75. So $2.50 yesterday, $1.50 in the earlier in the morning or in the middle of the day, 25 cents this time. So I seriously doubt that was a deep enough of a push that I would have been really locked and loaded trying to catch it on the way back through. But yeah, it'd be 325. Clearly somebody is, I don't want to say accumulating, but there's buyers down here at the 325 level and underneath on Tesla. It's a good thing to file away for tomorrow, but a bit of a missed opportunity. Although this is not the setup that happened for a reversal yesterday or in the morning. It's just very, very different than what we saw. Volume, still a good volume spike, not quite as big through, but it just wasn't as deep of a candle, which I would have been expecting on Tesla. All right, what else are you guys looking at here? I see Or Alpha asking me about Circle. I knew this would happen. Where it's like, be cautious, maybe short Coreweave instead of Circle, and of course Circle headed into the downside. So I guess it's sell back on in Circle. 6% down. Yeah, this is a sideways inside day for Circle after a downward trend. It could easily break lower from here, but until it breaks the next support level, I think you have to be very patient shorting it and not just thinking, hey, it's coming back in, I can short every single level. It's not the same as when it's going up. It's probably going to be a little bit more orderly on the way down at times. So just be careful with your timing does matter here.
All right, traders, listen up. First month is free with Cyngn. Make sure that you scan that QR code. That's right, the fees have been waived for your first month of the platform. Remember, you can trade smarter, not harder with Cyngn. All of the scanners that Neil and I show here on the show, Cyngn. Back testing, we use Cyngn. Those monthly, weekly charts, you can actually chart and scan and have up 500 data symbols up every single moment while your computer runs. Again, a pretty good program here for Cyngn. I like the back testing. It's the scanners that we show that really give us opportunities to look at different names, and we found the PayPal there. We just talked about that. I'm about to look at SMR here, Apple, things like that. So, and again, to me, the biggest thing is, we talked about this earlier, its uptime is pretty much 100%. We've never had issues with their Cyngn platform, so that's great. Also, all the apps you can connect to through their app store. We really like Cyngn. Just make sure you scan that QR code, get that first month free, and then again, depending on what market you're looking to quote, they have them all. So those ADRs, the Chinese markets, anything like that, get involved with Cyngn and become that trader that you want to be in different markets, not just all the U.S. markets. We talked about that with trade ideas. You can't. Some of these charting platforms just have certain capabilities, and some have good advantages, some have disadvantages, but scan the QR code, give Cyngn a try. It's first month free. You don't have to entitle anything. Just check out the platform, see if you like it. That's Cyngn. We want to thank them again for sponsoring this portion of the show. I wanted just to look at SMR here because look at this wall that's basically been formed here at $38. Like, it's a floor, I guess. The wall might be up top trying to break through the wall, but at the end of the day, it's not doing anything down here at 38. So this, I don't know if there's enough. There's still 20 minutes left. I don't think the market, again, I was thinking about shorting Apple, but not with that most recent spike. If anything, I may get back into the Nasdaq short here into the close, but really not much is going on. So I wanted to look at SMR. Nice move to the downside. We are kind of feeling some kind of ways. I told you when we got out at 36, then we got out again at 42. But 36 and 42, that average price is giving me roughly around 39 and change. So we're doing okay on our sells here of SMR, but SMR was another play that we were long down here at the 12 rate at this break, and it's paid off quite nicely so far on SMR, but we're gonna wait now. I always think that these, especially, I don't wanna say like all these uranium plays are in trouble or anything like that in SMR. I think we like nuclear, we like all those names, but just to me, it's looking like it's just a little bit of a push down, and I do think that we can get back to this $30 mark and where I wanna buy back some SMR. So I've got out of probably 60 to 70%. I'd have to double check that number before it's accurate, but I think there is a pushback coming here in SMR. So I would just look for the short, down 1.5% today in a pretty strong Nasdaq market. The other, Oklo would be another name that I would look to be picking up on any dip buy opportunities there, Oklo. And it kind of looks the same way, right? Having a hard time making that bottom. Then you look at the chart, looks like we do have a dip down possibility here on OKLO as well. So yeah, lots of opportunities every day in this market, just a matter of trying to find them, right? So right here, looks like it might be a buy. I would hold off a little bit on this one and try to see if it's a little more interesting to me down here near 46.50 or so for OKLO, and just like SMR, I think there is some downside possibilities here for both of these names. And then that goes for, and we talked about QBTS and Rigetti and other things. I think the QBTS home I was saying was around 12. Okay, well now it's already down to 14.
D-Wave.
Down again today. Yeah, D-Wave. Yeah,
You got to get
QBTS.
some out of the way up on these things, man.
Yeah, I know. That's what I was saying.
Well, I will say this, though.
There's
I would
10.
feel way better about the
12.
nuclear names than I do about, I should way better is not the, I feel better about the nuclear plays. Like, I feel better about SMR than I should speak about the ones that I'm in. I feel a little bit better about holding more SMR of the move than QBTS. Because the extremity to which quantum is just a theory it's a different
They've come out
level.
and said they're like 10 years away from like a product.
That's different from, I think, the nuclear plays, which we know power is going to get needed. Maybe they're not making money in deals now, but I feel like that's more of like in the next couple of years, as opposed to, I don't know, is quantum going to be a thing when my daughter's in university or past that? Like, it's just a very different story there. But I think they're both good. I do want to get to a lot of people have asked about Rocket Lab here, RKLB. This is a blue sky setup. I don't know why I didn't look at this today. This has to be on the radar tomorrow. So I'll put it on my iPad, which will guarantee at least that I call it up in the morning. That's about all it ever guarantees when I put something down on the iPad. Maybe you trade, maybe you don't, but fresh highs, clearly squeezing. I mean, double digits today. Pull back after the breakout, pull back, holds above the prior high and gives you continuation. So even when the selling came into this, they bought it right back up into the prior high, which is a good sign, I think. And just so watch those consolidations, right? When you consolidate at a level and you miss the breakout, you want to be, generally speaking, if you want to buy the dip, then the first place to buy the dip is back into the prior high. It didn't even touch it. It reverted $1 away from that at 35 clean. So this one looks good, probably worth having on the radar for the next couple of sessions. Well, at least for tomorrow and the next week. CYN halted to the upside, by the way. I put it in the chat. The tap is flat, 13.51, and it halted at that price. Obviously, it never retested VWAP in here to give me any kind of an idea for a short. It was a $5 offering, and this stock was $5 yesterday. I would not be surprised if this doesn't work its way, maybe not all in one shot, work its way down closer, somewhere in the mid-single digits for CYN. I'll probably pay for locates on this tomorrow. I would expect. Steve Canyon, what program do I make stock notes on the iPad? First of all, this iPad's really old.
Notes. I think it's called Notes.
It's just called Notes.
Notes.
And this iPad, like, we got this. I don't remember why. Oh, we got them to run Unity, like the our communication thing on the show, so that we would have it separate from our trading PCs. And then we stopped doing that and then I just had no use for it other than, well, I can open up and make some notes on it. And so that's all I use it for. And it's a really old iPad. Like, honestly, it's kind of breaking down. Yeah, just notes. I just put down a stock, maybe one or two lines, and then some price levels. And it just reminds me that it's in play. But from there, I then go and pick the stocks that I like from it. But I usually trade only the things that I have interest in. I believe we're going to Adara. 5 minutes till imbalances, everybody.
Yeah, we also have about 15 minutes until we get Donald Trump's big, beautiful event. Now, in case you're unaware, he's going to actually be delivering remarks from the White House during this event. The event, according to White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt, is basically just designed to drum up support for the big, beautiful bill, which, of course, they want passed before July 4th. That is in a week from tomorrow, so pretty tight timing. But either way, I'll be covering that in the Market Recap Show, along with Nike earnings at 4:15. Check that out with Sean and myself on the Market Recap Show at 4 p.m. Back to you.
All right, what's up? I got to shout Fabian is Tony. This guy, my son, will be all over this. Kelvin, what's up, Kelvin? This man is in our chat right now, over 840,000 subscribers. Yeah, I'm all about all this stuff, man. How to catch Pokemons. My kid loves, what is this guy from again? This game. Yeah, One Piece. One Piece absolutely adores everything to do with One Piece and all of that. So I'll give a big shout out to Kelvin. Thank you for joining us and always doing the best. So thanks for all of that. Yeah, One Piece. My kid loves that. He's watching them all right now. But he's 13. He's finishing Breaking Bad. He's like, oh, that was a great series. I'm like, the hell let you watch Breaking Bad? But I knew he was watching it. Anyways, 13's fine for that.
I was gonna say 13. Yeah,
it's not that bad. I mean, there might be some.
Aaron ain't watching that.
Like there was some.
Definitely.
Well, Gia wants to start watching. Some of her friends have started watching Stranger Things. So she's almost 11. So I don't know. The thing is, for me, it's about like the SEX.
Goonies when we were
right.
kids.
Like I'm not violence and things like that. Honestly, in video games, is what it is. Like my kid plays, my boy's 13, like I was saying, plays Call of Duty and stuff like that. Like I know there are some bad things in all of these games, but honestly, like welcome to the real world, everybody. But Roblox, the more you, in my opinion anyways, the more you like hover around your kids and try to protect them, the worse it is.
It's the opposite.
You don't want to do that. Like my kid, Baxter, at the age of 21, took a company public and got bought out already. And that was all about AI, right? Like he created a company in university and got seed money, bought out. So he's already doing big things there. And he was always into Andrino, like those little Andrino boards there for programming and all that kind of stuff. And we were always buying our kids like the iPads and all that. Obviously, you have to monitor them and they have to be responsible with them. That's for sure. But trust your kids is what I think. I mean, and then obviously if they disappoint you, there has to be some kind of a pushback.
If you don't allow kids,
we have friends of ours that don't
test boundaries. Like
we have friends like that will say, "Well, I'm never giving my kid an iPad." Okay, idiots. Honestly, in my opinion,
we have a cheap tablet. She doesn't have an.
That's nothing to do with an iPad. I'm just saying communication. I know you have a cheap.
You shouldn't need no iPad. No, that's how I roll. She doesn't need it.
Has nothing to do with
a cheap-ass smartwatch, too, right now. That's like,
but once she gets older, she's going to be all over Apple.
She can get the good stuff when she's old. She's 8 years old, man.
Oh, my kids had iPads.
No, but she doesn't need that. It's just more. But it's like you said, like let them try. Experiment in life. You learn from failure. At the end of the day, like nobody ever succeeded at anything big without failing and stumbling a few times.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you get lucky but usually that's how it is. So you got to try some stuff out, man. And it is what it is. I was telling
to each their own. I mean, it has nothing. I don't know which way is the right way.
I don't want to get too judgy. But we were talking about baseball. Like Aaron, my daughter gets a little competitive at times, and because she's one of the better hitters on the team, she struck out in back-to-back at-bats, which doesn't happen in our weekend tournament, and she got really down on herself. And I said,
don't you guys just like lob it in?
It's like, well, okay, so the coach pitch, when I'm coach pitch, I tend to be a little bit lower. Like I'll throw a little bit, but the head coach, he'll bring it in there a little bit more, which is fine, just a little wilder. I said, look, I go you get 4 pitches, and in 4 pitches then you strike out. And like 3 of them were completely unhittable. I said, look, you're probably not going to have been able to swing at those. It's just part of life. When you're a baseball player, Vladdy gets out 7 times out of 10. You're 300 hitter, you're going to the Hall of Fame. Like, you're going to fail. Baseball's a failure game. The point is, can you go back out there and do what you got to do and not get down on yourself? But it's like, that's what I love about baseball. That's what's fun about golf for a lot of people.
I mean, look at trading.
Is a kind of challenge that it is at the end of the day. We have 1 minute to the imbalances, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right, we can have a quick look at the imbalances. I'm not holding anything. So right now, we've been relatively flat. Oopsies. I want to get rid of the ARCA imbalances. So I'm just going to get rid of those right now. All right, this is what we're looking at. Let's go. Size, there it is. So not too much action here. We'll keep this up. We only have less than 1 minute, 50 seconds left until all of these become real. Right now, we only have New York and Nasdaq, but we're going to get rid of all of everything else. As of 9:30, the Nasdaq ones hang out, right? So all this market time right now irrelevant. We're looking for something to come out right now. And you know, the reason why I called up Roblox is just like sort of what's been going on Roblox right here. Again, another 52-week high made today on RBLX, and a lot of that going with Grow Garden and things like that. Okay, so JP Morgan also just hitting a scanner right now. Is that back to near highs? No, so I don't know what it's doing right now. Just 288, maybe. I don't know why. It did show up on my, I'll have to figure out oh, crossing the 50-period moving average, I think is what, yeah, that's what's happening right there. But that scanner, that's why JP Morgan's been popping off. All right, less than 10 seconds to go. Right now, the size, we are now out on the imbalances. And what's the high side? Pfizer, Penn, Nvidia. Okay, so there's Nvidia right there. Nice sell. Of course, now Apple's a sell, and you can see where Apple is. What a disgrace right there. Apple upside, trying to take it out right there. Now goes positive. Oh, was positive, now just flashing around. So good move there. Sorry, I thought Apple was a buy, but it's a sell right there. So not much going on there. Microsoft a sell. There's the move down on Softy. Pretty aggressive move. That gets all the way down into that level. Plug power. Okay, so Nvidia was the one that we kind of ignored. Look at this afternoon for Nvidia, though. Not great, man. Take the stairs down, Nvidia, right now. So we'll have to wait to see where that winds up going. This is a good break short for Nvidia for sure. But right now at 155 is the break. But at this time at 350, might not be worth doing anything there on NVDA. Penn Gaming, right?
When was the last time we even talked about that?
Well, they were involved with Barstool, and then they gave Barstool back to Portnoy, so I don't know.
And Portnoy he really got
Yeah, I think he did well there.
And he did really well.
Penn's up to the back.
Yeah, back at a fraction.
Yeah, that was a good one. So Penn right now down. But yeah, I don't know. That's internet, that's gaming, right? So casinos and gaming and things like that. So yeah, anyways, not much going on there. We keep on seeing, what's up, Tia? I keep on seeing you say something about Big Bear AI. And remember what I said? Like, oh yeah, it looks like it's a short right there. And yeah, so I guess it was. It goes all the way down to 75 and bounces again off that 200 period moving average. So it looks like that's going to play well for that as well. So, all right, that's what's going on there. And any other names, people like SMCI or whatever, but Big Bear AI just doing its thing. And then Nike into earnings tonight as well should be a mover.
I saw Gavin H just put out that Dell was their winner today.
Okay.
I didn't, look.
I'm feeling some Dell.
5%, 52, well, okay, never mind. Did it break the top? That's not a 52. That's back in November, so it's not quite a year. Well, it's not quite a year, so it doesn't count, but major resistance at 120. Yeah, it's almost at the 129 level. Dell is on one, and maybe just in like the 5th or 6th inning, for a baseball analogy, because we were just talking about baseball, of the move to the upside. That's a good look off the open. And I don't know if you, I have no idea how you traded it, but look at the VWAP hold as well. Like the continuation trade, like after the opening rush, let it pull back, hold the volume weighted average price. It's the most standard way to play a continuation long after the opening rally. Does it hold on to VWAP? If it does, enter the long. If it proves that it did the first time, buy it at VWAP the second time, and then back into the high of the day. So Dell, that's a good looking one. No questions asked, good looking stock there. Daniel just said to you that SoFi is at the high of the day again.
Yeah, I mean, we like SoFi. We talked about that. I should think about getting some out on SoFi, and we talked about that. Okay, well, it's at $17.
They don't report till next. When did you say they report?
I don't know. A while, right? I think it was a while.
I thought it was like in a couple weeks.
Yeah, I think it's July 27th or something for SoFi. No, it's late. It's late. SoFi reports late, for sure. So, but anyways, yeah, good look there for SoFi. Yeah, up 4.5%, still going. Great call out.
Oh, it's a month.
Yeah, exactly. Was it the 27th?
29th.
29th. Okay, close enough.
End of the month.
But yeah, there it is. SoFi right here. Great trade. I am going to tap out. We're in the money like 40 or 50%. I think it was when we looked at it just a couple days ago. So now we're probably almost close to. I thought I was on like $10 or $11. That would make sense.
No.
Right there, 17. So just a good level here for SoFi. I think it's worth getting out something and then just regrouping in case they do miss again on their report. And I don't even know if they missed last time.
Forget about miss. They sold the last couple of times. The last couple of big drawbacks, they still beat, and even if it gaps up, they sold it off anyways. That's the problem with SoFi. It tends to sell off regardless on their earnings play.
Right.
That's why. No questions asked. If you're in this and you're looking to take some profit, I don't think you let it get to the 29th, if that's what your line of thinking is. Adara?
This part of the show is brought to you by our friends at Trade the Pool. We got an behind the scenes look at Trade the Pool. The dashboard tracks your progress in real time, live stats, profit, and more. You can break down every trade, see your entry, exit, and how it played out on the chart. Check the certificates page for your full summary, achievements, and payouts. In this clip, that's Michael T. He's already earned over $75,000 in total payouts. Trade the Pool gives you the tools and the capital to go further. Ready to level up? Visit tradethepool.com or scan the QR code on screen. Back to you.
This Michael T is just such a legend. Michael T, yeah.
Well, he was a pretty good wide receiver.
Get it, Michael T.
But then he had some
Michael
injury issues.
Well, Drew Brees retired.
Yeah, that's really what it was. And look, don't get me wrong, Michael.
And now
Thomas,
he's day trading.
Michael Thomas was a really good receiver, but injuries, and sometimes you don't realize how big of a factor the quarterback, receiver connection is until you got to play with somebody else. And it's not that he wasn't still good. It's just
where did he wind up going? Oh, he stayed there, but without Drew Brees.
And then he got hurt, and all that.
Well, injuries are such a huge factor. Check out OGen, but a huge factor in all sports. Like it's hard to recover from anything. As you know,
especially on the other side of 30.
It's funny. There was 2 ACL tears. We had Tatum and
3
Halliburton.
Dame.
Oh no, but in the playoffs, like serious.
Yeah.
He's going to miss all of next year, too, now, Halliburton. Like, you get right in there, you tear it in Game 7. First quarter of Game 7.
It sucks.
Absolutely wild.
I am maybe so I'll be 1 year in 2 weeks from my Achilles surgery. And I am now, I can almost do a single leg calf raise unassisted with full extension. That's a year. Now, granted, professional athletes, that's all they're doing is rehabbing. I can't get away with that. But man, it sucks, and it's a long rehab, and I felt so bad for Halliburton. All injuries suck, but I've never. That's the most devastating one, just because of the timing of it. It's so brutal, and he was hurt going in and played anyways, and that's what I love. No one's gonna sit out of Game 7. Let's be real. Anytime people are like, oh yeah, players, you should. We knew somebody was like, he should have made a business decision. I'm like, are you crazy? I don't care who you are. You're playing Game 7 if you can. There's players that don't give effort. If you want proof of that, check out O'Neal Cruz on the Pittsburgh Pirates, who's supposed to be their star center fielder. Just check him out. That's what I mean about no effort. But even he's playing a Game 7 hurt because that's what you do. Only 3 minutes to go. Like I said, there was nothing on the imbalances really that was crazy. I just want to go back over to because there was nothing really that set up in that last 10 minutes. Tesla did lose VWAP. It's heading back to that 325. There's no trade here with only 2 minutes left to go, but it'll be interesting tomorrow. 325 is going to be the level to look at on Tesla after multiple days where it looked weak, bounces around that level, and then at some point later, it regains the 325 as the buyers have emerged for sure. So with a couple of minutes to go, this didn't really get traded. Outside of trading it in the afternoon at that 25 level hasn't been a morning trade. It might turn into that tomorrow if it can resolve itself on the north side of 325 early.
Yeah, I'm just hanging out here to see what happens here at the end. I wanted to check out what Nvidia was going to do. We do have our Big Bear AI as well. We do, so a nice little pullback there for Big Bear AI as well. All right, just making sure we don't have any orders pending still. That's the one thing that you can do as a trader. Go through your order log, make sure you don't have anything pending. Moving around here at the close, we can have a quick look to see what CYN finishes at. And again, $13. So yeah, brutal right there. Almost where we opened at today. Here's 930. We're actually underneath where we opened now on CYN, around that $15 mark before a bunch of halts came through. And then whoops, all the way to the downside there for CYN. So yeah, not a great movement there today. I mean, great movement, but you know, to have held it all day, not great, but hopefully you're able to take advantage of that. And again, they dropped that offering mid-halt, which we've never seen before. And then that had it open up down here at 19. We did make a move back, and then, you know, the rest is history. This name was about trillions of dollars if you zoom back out. It's been reverse split and all that kind of stuff. So not only have 15 seconds, or 50.
Somebody might be up to something on Nike.
And what about OST? Oh yeah, what's up with that?
Nike just broke high of the day. That's bold. That's a bold move, Cotton, because earnings are about to come out after market and someone's driving it higher. Look, it could always be some hedgies trying to take some risk off, because risk off in a chart like this going into earnings would mean buying, because it's been a sell for basically ever. Not ever, but for, I'm not going to zoom the chart back any further. You guys get an idea of what's going on with Nike by that. But yeah, Nike earnings after the bell. We're going to have Sean, we're going to have Adair, we're going to have those earnings. But get the camera off me. We got Fabian on the bell, brought to you by Oragenics. Great interview we had with Mr. LaFontaine and the doctor as well. OGEN on the NYC. Ring it. There we go. A little bit, a second or two late there. That's why I got a little bit off track. But Nike closing at high of the day, up 3% going into those earnings. It was a good day for the markets. Even if it was quiet in the afternoon, we're almost a full percentage to the upside. The chips were good, maybe not as strong as they were after market. As they were yesterday. I would blame some of that on Micron selling off on their earnings. Yeah, you can at them. Just only going to be watching Nike here at the close so you guys can see if there's any spike. We're not expecting them immediately after the bell. Could be a little bit for sure. I don't know whether this was foreshadowing. It could always have been. Don't assume that somebody knew something. It's got a downward trending chart, so very much could have just been risk off all day, shorts covering going into it. That makes a little bit of sense for myself. That crazy OST, by the way, that penny stock or the $9 stock that went to penny stock back down to 50 cents. So I guess it topped out at about 87. So you had a long into 87, right back into 50, 93% to the downside for that Chinese ADR. Want to give a big shout out to Fabian, Ramin, and Andre, our team, doing a great job making us look and sound good. Fantastic interview. Thanks, Brendan, for that. Shout out to the Midday Boys, the Bash Brothers as well. But hey, you got Nike earnings, you got the market recap, you got Sean in the salmon, which we didn't even comment on. We love the salmon shirt. And of course, Adara, your market recap starts right about now. Go Nike.
Adara, I was muted there. Adara and myself here for the market recap. So thank you. I'll look over here. How about that? All right. So we're waiting for Nike out right now.
415.
415. Okay, so no rush on Nike today, but look at what's been happening here on the broader markets today, man. Everything pretty much upside, no matter where you're looking, unless, of course, you're trading wheat. Or MSOS is there, gas, UNG a little bit to the downside, Berkshire, other than that, man, everything else, China, Kweb. We did have China on our watch earlier this morning, but you can see here, let's go over to FXI and have a quick look to see what that was doing today. So they're up a little bit. So Chinese internet names, which is Kweb, to the downside. The market continued to push higher today as Meta got a favorable decision. There it goes there. Kind of a light news day, as Adair's noted for us, but some of the catalysts where Mark Zuckerberg continues to fill. The super intelligence team was heavy hitters there from OpenAI. So Meta, you know, obviously something's brewing there, as it's always been with Meta, and AI is the name of the game right here again, as there goes Meta. Looking at a daily chart for ME, whoops, that's a 30-minute chart, but wow, look, there goes Meta again at the highs. But on a daily, there it is. We are now moments away from that all-time break in and around 740 as Meta. Yeah, another gappy day there for META. Yeah, Tesla and Amazon, meanwhile, executives leaving the company. So sort of going the other way for these names today. Tesla down 0.5%. They had some decent movement. Next. how come both charts changed over to a day chart? Let's go to a 5-minute chart right there. Tesla had some decent movements early, all the way back up to the upside, but then we faded back down for Tesla. And again, nice move down, nice move up, nice move back down again. And this is what Neil and I were talking about there at the end of the day. You know, it's one thing to say that's an exhaustion candle and back up to the upside, but did you actually take it and hold it? Because if you did, it came all the way back in again. That's Tesla. Nice downside move there. Executives leaving with also Amazon. So we could have a quick look there, but Amazon goes the other way today, Adara, up almost 3%. Nice move there. We didn't get to talk too much about your trading today. Was there any stocks that you were looking at?
Yeah, actually, Palantir and Micron.
Okay.
I closed my P Pro, but I have the screenshot so I can pull those up quickly for you guys. So both of these were shorts. I was just saying to Sean over here off camera, I noticed that Palantir has this fun little pattern as of late where it'll kind of push into all-time highs in and around that area. And then what happens is after, I'm trying to find a way to open this chart, basically after that you kind of pull lower, right? So let's see if I think I downloaded this hopefully, and there we go. Can pull it up for you guys. Beautiful. So here is PLTR. And as you can see here, what I like is we get below VWAP. We kind of make that little flat bottom pseudo. We're on that 145 halves. You wristed this pop here above VWAP. Huadunk took some pieces of profit here off previous support. Happy with that. Added when we started kind of making these slightly lower highs. Get stopped out in the 15-minute prior bar. This is the 3-minute chart. But yeah, that was pretty clean. Micron, kind of the same idea, just a short off of these lower highs, lower lows. So PLTR, if this pattern holds tomorrow, it'll be 2 days straight it's done that. So that'll be 3 if we do it tomorrow. That'll be watching. I had this circle long off the open as well, which worked, and then I kind of chopped it a little bit later. But yeah, green on circle, green on Palantir, green on Micron. Red a little bit, went down one risk. On coin and Enphase, and I was very much up on the day. So there we go.
I think Adara, you were number 2 P&L today out of all of the traders.
Cool.
So congratulations to Adara, making money on the desk, doing lots. I like that chat up there. So shout out to Fabian. Let us know if you like the chat on the screen. This gives you another opportunity to watch the show and not worry about the chat. You can sort of see everything at both times. And so there it is. Well, I don't like that version of it. I like on the actual screen right there. So congratulations to Adara, says Dinkelberg. And I'll talk about that success all the time over and over again. So yeah, congratulations on that one. All right, so yes, leave the chat up, says Bob that dog. All right, so interesting story today with Core Scientific, of course. Rumors, it wasn't official, reports that they were going to be acquired by Coreweave. So Core Scientific looking to acquire similar names, Coreweave looking to acquire similar names. So they're dancing around a little bit there today. Coreweave, again, it's tough to pick tops and bottoms in all of these names, but I think that Coreweave was pretty much a squeeze play to the upside. The change in the last 20 days still up 30% right there. Coreweave looking like it wants to lose 150, and I say when it does, we come back into this 130 area. But Coreweave talked about, again, LVLU announcing a stock split right there, I guess, to get above $1. So this could be a play tomorrow. I heard Lulu. This is Lulu's Fashion Lounge right there. Yeah, they're lounging a little too chill right now because they're at the bottom, 33 cents right now. Reverse stock split for LVLU. Watch out for this name tomorrow. So this could be a name. Shares outstanding 42 million, probably too many, but after they reverse split, those shares will come out. So watch out for a low float name tomorrow, LVLU, maybe on board for that one. All right, so that was some Coreweave talk. Amazon, Micron on earnings. So Micron yesterday came out with a decent report, and we saw them fly to the high side during that report, right here live on the after show, and boom, huge move, but then it just kept fading throughout the show, and eventually there, once we get the earnings call, we could see they did not like the report after all. Micron expected move, I think, was around 6 to 7%.
Only 7.
7, yeah, well, close enough.
Yeah.
But there's the move down on Micron into the rest of the day. So Micron not really responding that well to that earnings report, but what a move Micron's had into that report. So let's understand that again. The guide was in line, their beat both sides, and was well received But again, some steam coming out of some of the semi names today, including Nvidia, which, you know, you're going to say how the steam come out. We still broke through all-time highs, and yes, we did. Nvidia does end up more positive than negative, but look where we were on the day. You know, you opened up. The reason why I don't even know why this is showing up, I guess, because I guess, you know, depending on where you have us opening, it was a pretty flat day, and then now's the push lower. So we're actually going to be red if you take in the after hours here for NVIDIA. A nice move down here to end of the day on NVDA. The big runner in the semi space has been AMD, and they did not have a good beginning of the day. So there goes AMD downside. Again, it's kind of misleading that it's showing up on the day. These really felt heavy throughout the whole day. Another heavier name was Apple today, as they finished the day low, down 0.4%. Again, in a record-breaking Nasdaq day, Adara, up almost 1% at its highs, pulls back a little bit, but again, we're waiting for Nike. That's not going to affect the Nasdaq. We had some pushes again in Tesla today, as we started the show showing you that they were sort of barcoding, but look, cracking a little bit lower. I'm wondering if we're setting up today, and you know, we used to have Pratt on the show. He called it Free Fall Friday, and
oh, yeah, I've heard of that.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if it's going to happen, but you know, high, hello. I could see a little bit of a pullback in for tomorrow. We'll see if Nike earnings shouldn't really give us, you know, we could just do it and break through some of those highs. But I don't know, for Nike, let's just wait. What do we have for the implied move on here? 5%, 8% of an implied move for Nike. I don't know. Did you read anything about Nike today?
Not much. It's interesting though, Sean. I just remembered you were not here for the last, this quarter last year. You were also off the day for Nike earnings. It's an interesting pattern. Yeah, because I remember it was Obi and Neil, and it was also Friday morning, and Shopify was in play that day as well. Eidetic memory, too many things on my mind. In terms of Nike, there were I have some infographics on X at TTV Research. You guys can look at those for sure. The company's China sales have been rough, and I actually was reading a little bit about this, Sean, with regards to working on my infographics, and part of why they got rid of John Donahoe, the former CEO, and replaced him with Elliott Hill is because there were issues in China. Well, Elliott Hill's first quarter did not show really any improvements in that regard. It's still down 11% year over year. Let's see if Elliott Hill can have the company running up that hill. Shout out to Kate Bush and Stranger Things. And yeah, because I think really, unless Elliott Hill makes some changes here for China, which is what the company wanted, maybe we need some more changes. Like really, I think the only super successful CEO for the company was Mark Parker. Then he left right before the pandemic. And he was there for 14 years. So it's like, can we get another Mark Parker in here? I don't know. The guy before him wasn't good. The guy after him, John Donahoe, wasn't well received. Elliott Hill, his only experience really was working with Nike in some executive capacities, but he wasn't really a CEO, didn't have that kind of tenure. Hopefully he has what it takes to help the company. We know Bill Ackman's involved in this name, so we're going to have to wait and see. Also, officials from the EU have said that the US has presented a new trade deal proposal to the EU, and the EU Commission chief has shared it with their leaders. So all we know is they have presented the proposal. We don't know any details about said proposal. We're going to have to wait and see on that, Sean. But yeah, I think Nike could be interesting.
Yeah, I think it should be an interesting look there today. We did have some questions about Lululemon. I was looking at Lulu, and I think that this is a buy. Just looking at the chart, we have 18 forward PE. I think that that's something that could be bought up there for Lululemon. Change is down 40% on year to date for Lululemon. So that's absolutely getting crushed right there. Still a good revenue, 11 billion, EPS of $2.60. So they still are reporting earnings again. And with Lululemon again, it's just a retail spot. We looked at Gap, we've looked at Nike, and some of the producers there, Under Armour, which is UA right there. You know, again, some of these names just not performing that well. I think at some point they'll come back. And remember, we do have that July 8th to July 9th talk coming up where we're talking about tariffs, and we'll see what happens with China and, Taiwan, Indonesia, some of these things, Pakistan, where some of the clothings are made. We're just going to see, how much that affects. A lot of these companies also put in what we call kitchen sink quarters, so meaning that they either didn't guide or they guided so low just because of the uncertainty in the tariffs that it's very hard to judge a company here like Lululemon. But honestly, there's Alo, there's a few different, we talked about Gymshark and some different competition entering the space for Lululemon. And I think every major apparel company, I don't know if they have pink sheets, ADD, what is Adidas? ADDY, There it is, ADDY. Oh, they do have it here. Okay, so I just want to check this name out because here we go, an ADR trade over in the German market. But they're actually holding out not as bad as Lululemon, but we wait for Nike earnings coming out right now. What we're looking for, it's Adidas here, but I think if you're over in Europe, you guys correct me, they like, every time I'm watching football, they say Adidas. But okay, so Nike right here, what we're looking for is an EPS of 12 cents. So when that number comes flying through, we're looking at for it on the Benzinga platform. We'll get that to you. I remember the thing about EPS and sales. So the sales revenue number estimate 10.67 billion. So just in line with actually Lulu's number of 10.75. So Nike and Lululemon battling here, who sells the most. But at the end of the day, it's always about the guide. So you're going to get a little bit of a move here in Nike. And Nike had a decent day today, right? Closing near the top. So we'll see if that's sort of a indicator of what is to come for Nike.
There's another piece of earnings. It's not Nike, but there is this company, Concentric. We can talk about this a little bit. I usually just put like the biggest of the big earnings if there's names that we're familiar with on our earnings watch list, but I'll mention this one because it is moving. Concentric here, Q2 adjusted earnings missing $2.70 versus $2.75 expected. Sales beat 2.42 bill versus 2.38 bill expected. And then the company here with their guidance, they guided mostly below expectations for Q3 EPS and actually above expectations for sales. So generally this whole report has kind of been like that for CNCX. They narrowed their guidance here for the fiscal year. It looks like they actually raised the higher end of the guidance, like tightened it in general. Nothing super exciting. But yeah, also I want to mention here, Donald Trump set to host this big, beautiful event. It's basically to drum up support for the big, beautiful bill. KK asking in the chat. It's not details of the bill. It's just literally White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said it herself today during the conference. They just want to get people to support the bill. That's the point of this event. I don't know what that entails yet, but Trump is set to speak there. Of course, he will be there. He is already about 15 minutes late. But speaking of 15 minutes, it's 4:15.
Yeah, it's 4:15. I think Nike's going to beat, honestly, just because, see this little loop up right here? I think Nike, I would favor the long, if anything, on Nike right here, using 60 maybe as your bottom. Looks like it's moving around right now, so I would say Nike is out. Right now, so there it goes, 64 cents going to the upside. Remember, the EPS we're looking for was 12 cents on that, so there goes Nike to the upside. I mean, I was thinking a beat or thinking that stock may go up. I don't know about the beat, but right now here comes to the downside. So again, looks like we'll get that. Thank you for Trader TV #1, Mike P. Ryder. We do like that. Just do it, Nike. Go one way or the other. Don't stay flat. We need 8% for someone to win on these options. Let's go figure out what those numbers are. Do you have them yet? I
do have them. I was making that face because, so the numbers look good, but then I'll get into a little bit more with you guys. They did beat here. 14 cents per share earnings versus 11 expected. Sales, 11.1 billion versus 10.72 billion expected. So that's a beat. But Nike didn't just report quarterly earnings, Sean. This is also Q4, so they reported their annual earnings as well, and that's where things get a little yucky. Full year revenue for Nike, 46.3 billion. That's down 10% year over year. Q4 revenue, again, a beat, but it's down 12% year over year, Sean. So not great. Nike good. Direct revenue down 14% year over year. Wholesale revenue down 9% year over year. Gross margin down 440 basis points year over year. And I'm sorry, I feel like every stat I say it's dropping. I apologize. The number's a beat, but that doesn't make it good on a year over year basis. In this case, it is not. I'm looking right now through this report for China numbers because I think that's going to be key as well, as I mentioned earlier.
Yes, that's trend line, and down goes Fraser right now. You know what might save them is like I want Donald Trump to walk out in his Air Force Ones. You know,
does he have if he was
wearing, if he was wearing Air Force Ones entering into Air Force One, how sick would that be? You know, I think I need to work on the DJT marketing team over here.
Do you remember like the Black Air Force meme with like, oh, that person's like, you know, like they have like Black Air Force energy? I'm like, that would be, I don't know.
Oh, I don't know that one, but yeah, I'm not working. I'm not here tomorrow. I'll be on the golf course hopefully tomorrow early, and then coaching the girls tomorrow night for our tournament, which starts there, the Ontario Mega Girls Tournament. Teams traveling over 500 junior or minor league baseball players, female baseball players, coming to our area tomorrow and here in Toronto. 500, and I think, I'm biased, but I think we'll win the whole thing, and we did last year, and on, you know, on the back of great coaching strategies. No, our girls are fantastic. I've actually been going back and forth because we have to decide pitch counts and all that kind of stuff with our girls, but we're excited for that tomorrow. But I was gonna say, maybe I'll wear the Air Force Ones, and I don't have the golf. My golf shoes are actually Adidas. So they're really, really super comfortable right there. Okay, yeah, so there goes the chat. We're just testing out if we like that on the screen or not. Just bear with us. I see some comments in there. Some people like it, some people don't. That is fine. We'll get through that. But there goes Nike up and down again. Looks flat, so Nike beats early again with good numbers overall. Nike again, EPS of 14 cents beats the 11 or 12 depending where you're looking. The sales over 11 billion beats the 10.6 again depending where you're looking on the estimate.
I have more
so
here.
Everything is good for Nike except for, again, when you're looking year over year, most things were going to be down, whether or not that be direct sales, wholesale revenue, and gross margin. All three of those metrics all decline year over. What's up, Fabian? What you got in that shirt? I can't see that. Oh, just do it. There it is right there. So we'll go bang for my guy Fabian over there. And what's on? Oh, today we just got the Maxes on. That's all. Nothing too fancy over there today. And I'm wearing Lululemon pants. So, okay, LU also right now filing for a mixed shelf. That's bad for them, but it looks like it's
Trump's
okay.
walking on stage.
Not done. Trump's walking on stage. What color are the Air Force Ones? No, but that's going to be the big, beautiful bill, right? Discussion. Yep. So there's people talking in the chat. You just mentioned there. We're not sure exactly what that's going to happen to anything that he's going to be saying or not. So look for specific sectors, maybe like TAN. We do know that with solar, there's been some subsidies cut in this space. So if you go over to the TAN ETF, I don't know if the ETF will move directly, but maybe a Sunrun or a First Solar or something like that. Sunrun, look at that off the bottom, man. I mean, we take a look at that. Sometimes we talk about stock and we get a little bit too carried away with the Nvidias, the Palantirs, the Apples, and Microsofts, basically anything in the Nasdaq. And there's a lot of hidden value in just looking at charts, even on depressed names. Like Sunrun was $20. Obviously, it's not going to be like a screaming buy at $5. But if you're looking at it and you get this drip down right there, it comes into a level that's been supported in the past. It's like you could have taken a shot here at $6 or $7. You're up to $7.71. Already, that's like a 20% return. Hit it, and as they say, quit it on something like that. You can get out of that one. But anyways, that's a Sunrunner or maybe a First Solar. Just talking possible things to look at here as we have the biggest, the most beautiful bill of all time. Nucor.
You just said it right after you said it. You literally
just said it?
right after you said
I told you, man. Me and this guy, man. Me and Donald, man. I see you, my guy. I see you. Send me some DJT shares. Sell them immediately. All right, so that's what's happening right there. Let's have a quick look at Donald J. Trump here. Of course, Truth Media and Social Technology Group right there, DJT, closing the day near the highs. I don't know about this, man. I mean, we've talked about it. They've had some big moves upside and downside, and right now hovering near the bottoms. But if we take that same logic that we had in Sunrun and apply it to like a DJT, just like a GameStop, right? There's going to be areas that need to be bought up. Like, why not take a shot at this at the $15, $16 mark, holding it against this $12 bottom, possible for moves higher, right? That's worked out for names like a GameStop. Every time, if you've come in and bought this, tried to support the $20 mark, sure, it's gone against you. It went to $18.80 right there, right? But if you've bought 20, you've gotten pops, 35, 30, things like that. So again, buying some of these dips, and even right now in GameStop, I don't think there's anything wrong. Earnings came in. We know that they're building that Bitcoin trust. So what happens when Bitcoin pops, right? You're going to get that GameStop pop. And you don't have to say, I love GameStop for their fundamentals. You just look at here at some of the technical levels. Now, will you get offside if there is a, like we just said, an offering or something like that, or a story that comes out that catches you by surprise? Yes, GameStop will hurt you real bad because it could gap down 20+%. But if you're in the area right here, nothing wrong with taking shots. I mean, you can go all the way back. This is last year. This is May of 24. GameStop was here at $19. We actually held that pretty much all year. So why not take that shot? You have moves to get you going on GameStop. So I do like that. What's up, Steve Canyon? I will have a nice day off. But the thing is, every time I have a day off, you know what? I'm always waking up, I'm logging on, I'm seeing what's going on tradertv.live, just to make sure, not just to make sure everything's good, but I like to watch. I feel like you get a different perspective, and I was talking about this with Brendan. You get a different perspective when you're actually watching the show. You do. I watch too when I'm like off, like that day that I had to leave because I was having like, dental emergency issues. I was still watching from my house. I was like, oh, you know what I mean? Because you do get a different perspective when you're, and I mean, good luck with the team though. Of course, I hope they hit it out of the park. Thank you.
That would be, awesome.
That would be great. Yeah, I hope so too. I'll keep everybody updated. Get on to my Instagram. I'll be posting there. Even on Twitter, we'll be posting how that goes. So thanks to Dara for that. Let's just have a quick little look at Nike again, because again, the major company that is reporting here tonight, only one of them, Nike, and unfortunately, fail. Ooh, something was signed with China yesterday. I just heard in my ear with DJ. Donald John Trump there talking again about this big, beautiful bill. Quick check-in on the triple Qs. If anything moving around, no. Check in on the SPY. Anything moving around, no. Check in on FXI, because I just heard China, a little bit of a bump there for that. So we'll figure it out. Nike conference call, I see on the chat there, 5 p.m. So that could get Nike going. All right, quick little look here on a few other names, just to go over the stock heat map. Okay, yeah, Trump talking, you're going to start to open up China, so that sounds good there. As we get more talk from Chinese, officials and Donald Trump.
Well, it's just funny because you just mentioned Lululemon. Lulu actually just announced a mixed shelf offering, Sean. So speak of the devil, and the devil announces a mixed shelf offering.
Devil cometh?
I don't know if it cometh, but it announceth a mixed shelf offering. Also, Trump's just throwing out countries right now that they might do a deal with. Maybe India, maybe something here. He does look a little bit oranger than I've seen her in a while, if I may be so bold. But we couldn't see his shoes, so I can't comment on the Air Forces.
What is they've said something about, he's definitely not wearing Air Force Ones.
I'm joking.
Yeah, I know. He golfs a lot.
I did know that. And his granddaughter apparently is really good, and her mom is dating Tiger Woods right now, so that's really good.
Right, I did see that as well. Yeah. Tiger Woods, y'all, man, that guy gets around for sure. So shout out to my guy Tiger. That guy's been through a hell of a lot. I love, the drama.
Talented.
The drama surrounding him, crazy. It's amazing. Yeah, I really.
Elin Nordegren, yeah.
Everything, yeah. Well, and then he's had some issues with some ladies in Vegas and things like that while he was with her, things like that. So very, very interesting. I thought there was also a skier that he was involved with, a U.S. He's amazing.
I need to do a deep dive tonight because I only know, I think, a fifth of the things you've just said.
Oh, yeah. And then he had many overdoses and things like that. No, but I mean, I'm not talking negatively about the guy. I'm just saying it's been a wild ride.
He's gone through a lot
Tiger Woods.
in a pretty short life.
And then his back as well from a lot of the accidents that he's been in. He flipped his car numerous times. Tiger Woods, y'all. I still remember playing Tiger Woods golf or something like that for either one of the PlayStations or something like that. It was great times. I love Tiger Woods. Shout out to Tiger Woods, man. And also his son. This is what I'm saying. There's so many stories about it. But anyways, let's move on for now. When I'm looking at this board right here, actually, no wonder it was such a successful. What's up, CompuCare team? What's up there over there, CompuCare team? Saying you're still here. Yeah, man, we're all still here. We're only here for 5 more minutes. All right, so you're looking at this board today and you're like, damn, Daniel, it was a good day there. What's up with those white vans, right, Fabian? But there's Tesla down. So out of all the big names today, we had a few in the health technology, including Abbott Labs. Ooh, Trump saying the big, beautiful bill is the ultimate something. And then I missed the end of it. Okay, so anyways,
now he's imitating Joe Biden. He's actually doing a vocal imitation of. This is kind of uncomfortable. I'm only mentioning it because it just came in my ear, and
Joe Biden is literally, I don't know. I thought that he was not. I don't want to say on his deathbed, but he is suffering from his cancer.
Yes, I'm. Yeah, it's an odd choice.
Is he doing it in a mocking fashion?
It's not in a positive fashion.
Okay, well, anyways.
I'll tell you that.
Okay, well, look, the one thing about Donald, no matter hate him or like him, I think you know what he's coming with every time. So, shout out to being yourself, I guess. But all right, let's move on that one. All right, so looking for some negative names today. Abbott Labs, Merck, just heard in my ear that he's about to sign a deal with China on Wednesday. All right, so big, beautiful Wednesday, apparently. All right, Adobe today, downside, and Adobe keeps on fighting the AI worries, right? Of, hey, you talked about Canva, something that you use, Adara, and very much other aspects of ChatGPT and different things happening right now where you can get away from Adobe possibly as well. All right, so Palo Alto there as well, down. I think any sort of a move down in Palo Alto, PanW, CrowdStrike, Zscaler, anything like that. Look, man, we all just saw what war means, that 12-day war that apparently happened. I don't think it's over or anything like that, but cybersecurity, I think, is so super important because we already saw Iran's response to being obliterated was to fire 13, Scud missiles, which all got redirected or shot down. I just wonder if cybersecurity, there's much more at play here than we think with this world. And I think a lot of us know that already. I'm not saying anything that should surprise anybody. So cybersecurity names, we really like that. I would choose CrowdStrike, but Palo Alto, a great name. Retail today, a little bit upside down, right? As you have Amazon with the win today, while meanwhile, traditional retailers such as Walmart and Costco both hitting the skids a little bit down 1% each there today. So that's not great. MasterCard down. MasterCard and Visa have been getting hit again on some of that stablecoin talk. Uh-oh. Whenever I look over there and you're kind of doing like a little
Trump is
huff
just
and
talking
puff.
about Hannibal Lecter for some reason, as in the fictional character from
Hannibal
Silence of the
Lecter,
Lambs.
yes.
And he's saying, we don't want Hannibal Lecter. And I honestly, at this point, I don't
But
really
who
know
is
the
he
context.
referring to?
He said the name like 50 times in the past 2 minutes. I'm exaggerating, probably closer to 5, and that's not a joke. Yeah, sorry about the face, but
I feel like I don't want anybody to change off of what we're doing right now, but
No.
the president is talking about Hannibal Lecter.
it is really entertaining,
right
but
now.
please stick with us because you guys can see my live facial updates as I hear the news, which is probably just as cool as watching it live.
Well, that's why I was looking over at you and saying like, okay, yeah, I can hear you just doing some like little under your breath sort of huffs and puffs. And that's why I'm going over to you because
appreciate that.
anything we talk about, I think, because at any time he could influence any of these major sectors, right? I don't think
We
he's gonna,
never know.
Yeah, I don't
Maybe
think he's
there's a
going to
Hannibal Lecter ETF. I'm joking, but you know what I mean, right?
Yes,
It's literally anything.
Really, you're joking? Okay. Yeah, no. I took that seriously. No, but right there, Nike right here. What a snooze fest for Nike. I'm going to say fail on that if you come over to the chart. Basically, in line or a beat on all of the major metrics. We got a beat 14 cents versus 11. We got a beat on the revenue side of things, 11.1 billion versus 10.6, 10.7. But again, when you're looking over the year-over-year numbers, they were all down. Year-over-year EBITDA margin, they're down. Sales down year-over-year. So it's not even online sales down. Remember, they did have a recent CEO shuffle, I think going back 8 or 9 months, and there it goes down. The Fed right now, on Trump's mind, he's talking about wanting the Fed to lower rates. So I think we already know about that. I think, unfortunately, Jerome Powell's days are numbered to next May. As soon as his appointment, because the president appoints the Fed chair, right? So he is not going to unless all of a sudden Powell changes his tone and somehow gives him some kind of guarantee. So we'll find out right there. So he's going to be fighting for a rate cut. We already know about that. Today's day, obviously not over until we talk about JP Morgan and the XLF. I mean, I just was noticing down here, XLF today up 0.72. This is about to break right there. But you want a space when we're talking about rates. My mind goes everywhere, much like Adara's. Mine's nowhere as complicated as hers, I feel like. Like you have a lot in there and you can remember.
Maybe too much, yeah.
Maybe too much, but what I remember is IWM. And I think that when you're talking about the Russell 2000, what you want to remember is these are lower cap names. Go ahead. You can always interrupt.
Trump just said that on Fed Powell, quote, we have to fight this guy.
So I think, what do you think about a cage match?
Well, honestly, he kind of suggested that as well, but ahead of the House meetings, because he posted on Truth Social, he was like, "Oh, like the people in Congress, they have to take him." I forget what the exact wording was, but it was very physical violency. Then Senator Moreno yesterday literally said, "Oh, I think Jerome Powell wants to beat me up," and then said, "Oh, well, we were chosen by the whole, everyone voted for us. You were chosen by one guy. He doesn't even want you anymore." Like these, I think people listen to Trump.
Why are like 60, 70-year-old men talking about fighting each other?
I mean, Powell
I
has not. I want to make this very clear. But yeah, it's just funny that multiple people seem to want.
Were you with us when we were? I like this look, by the way. This is a good one.
Oh, hello, Sean.
Hey, how's it going? Well, we also have another look, which is, the
Brady
shots.
Bunch.
Yeah, or I like the Brady Bunch too. Were you here when it was a potential cage match between Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg?
I really wish I was. Yeah. Unfortunately, I was not.
They were talking about renting out the Colosseum in Rome. I'm serious.
I've been to Rome. I've been to the Colosseum.
Same.
That's way too big for those two dudes. Like, what are you gonna do?
No, they could sell it out.
Well, they could sell it out
easily.
Are either of them good enough fighters to support that? Like, I know Zuck works out.
I think Kanye and Travis Scott, they did the circus there, Circus Maximus.
Okay, that makes sense.
And Travis brought out Kanye, and I think there was like 180,000 people. or something.
Okay, I didn't realize. So they probably
it's just beside the Coliseum. There. Anyways, that was tons of fun. I don't know if that's why Zuckerberg was training or not. But anyways, before we go, it's 4:32. We got to get out of here. But I just wanted to say IWM before I threw over to Adair about a potential cage match between Jerome Powell and Donald Trump. My money would be on Donald. I mean, honestly, I think he would just snap Jerome Powell.
I think that Jerome Powell, he likes to stay neutral.
Donald Trump's like 250 pounds.
Jerome Powell would be like, I'm not comfortable. I'm not comfortable with this question. I'm not going to answer that.
Right. I think we could have that on. I'm not here tomorrow, but that might be an interesting poll question for tomorrow. But okay, anyways, I was just going to say IWM does have a good chance of a breakout here. Again, up to the 200 period moving average on a daily chart. We really like that. Plus, with rate cuts, that does help the smaller, side of business because they're more receiving of the loans rather than lending out, and they don't sit on a bunch of cash, right? So a stock like Apple or Google or something like that has a hoard of cash, as rates lower, the cash becomes worth less. It's just they can't lend it out at the same amount that they could have before. But that's not going to affect Apple or anything. I'm just letting you guys know that's the reason for IWM. All right, who's still here with us? All right, man, it's 4:33. Fabian must be enjoying the content because we haven't had our... Not enjoying the content, actually, right there. He's like, oh, yeah, let me remind myself about that. All right, well, we have the chat up on the screen, so why don't we just use that right now, Fabian? Let's say a hi to who's here. Hey, I haven't seen you before. Nephew with Capital. What's up, Nephew with Capital? If I had a nephew with Capital, I'd tell him to deploy said capital, so I hope you're doing that. What's up, Mike P. DeRider right here laughing? Thank you so much. We like that Shadera. We like that right there. Shador Sanders, you know who that is?
Heard of? Don't know.
Deion Sanders' kid. He was
that's
the
that
one.
guy that they were trying to get drafted, and then he was like one of the last picks, and it was really awkward for everyone involved.
Yes.
I remember that.
He was apparently a number 1 overall pick that fell into the third or
he was like the fourth draft. He was the last day.
Yeah. So he was too bad for it. But anyways, rich kid. The guy was making millions of dollars in college, right? So that's what they do now with the NIT there, or the
NCAA?
NIL.
Oh, never mind.
The money. It is NCAA, but anyways. Yeah. All right, poor Robin Hood's here. Henry here. Currency Brian. See, we can get off track very, very easily around here. Aziz AI, thank you so much. Living Color, Ty Smith, Trendline Tycoon, and everybody. Yo, Sanders is underrated. I do believe that Shedeur Sanders is going to have a decent career in the NFL. He's with the Cleveland Browns. I think they don't even have a quarterback, so I feel like the door is open for that. Hey, thank you so much for your nice comments, man, in the chat. We want to thank everybody. All those comments, such a great show. They liked it. Look, Adair and I working all day, then coming to show you and give you the market recap. We want to thank everybody that stayed with us. I'm not here tomorrow. We're golfing. So, Adair, have you ever golfed before, yes or no?
Yes, once.
Boom. And how did you do?
It was, I don't remember. It wasn't really good.
I feel like.
Pardon?
Golfing is frustrating.
Yeah, I mean, I think I did fine. I was with my sister and my grandpa, and then my grandpa kept giving himself shots. He'd get close and be like, oh, I got it. So it wasn't really fairly scored. Also, Lasmel in the chat asking about Amazon, no news for AMZN. Thank you guys for putting up with a pretty chaotic show. I know you've golfed before, so I won't ask, but yeah.
Yeah, I like golf. I'm about, I'm like a bogey golf. So
nice, okay.
I'll shoot like a 90.
Is bogey
1+1. Okay,
that's not bad at all. That's awesome.
On every hole.
That's really good. Okay.
Yeah, so if it's a par 4, I'll shoot like a 5.
That's solid, I would say.
I'll try to get a birdie around.
Okay, birdie's 1 below?
Yeah, birdie's 1 below. Yeah. Eagle is 2 below. I don't think I'm doing anything like that. All right, quick last little look on Nike. Nike right now down. Still up on the day, but down right here in the after hours. 61.83. All right, everyone, please, have a safe, good weekend. I'm taking a long one, so I'll see you guys on Monday. Hopefully you'll be seeing a trophy raise on that one. Thank you so much for joining us again. It's Shadera. That's Adera. I'm Sean. That's Fabian. Thanks, Fabian, for staying late with us as well. And for everybody there in the chat, have a great evening. I got to get home, eat, and then we have a game 8 p.m.
Yes.
Can you believe my 10-year-old plays 8 till 10?
And then she goes to school the next day?
Yes.
That's impressive. Shout out to Gio.
Shout out to Gio, yeah. All right. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow. Ciao. You found the best trading show on the planet. So what are you going to do now? Simple. Hit the like, subscribe, and share it. It's Trader TV Live. We're here, baby.